welcome back once again to Android BGMS Season 3, powered by Garnier Men. I'm going to be a host of Caster Necro once again, and John alongside with me on the panel. It's going to be no one else than Scaredy Ed himself. And once again, we're back in the day 3, man. Yesterday's day, it ended off in quite an interesting fashion, right? I mean, especially that bounty being denied by Ninja Boy was also quite cruel, but at the same time, it added that element of surprise.
I mean, the fun fact is that you wanted some spicy things and things to be heated up. He gave that exact same thing, though. And I honestly like the idea as well. He spoiled the game as well for God's Reign by picking off one player, and then he just mollied himself because he knew he can't heal, he can't fight. It was basically 10 free points to GDR. He said, you know what? I'm not letting you climb up the ladder of that leaderboard. I'm just going to make sure that we still sit in the top 4.
Makes a lot of sense, right? God's Reign is not doing too hot as well at the same time. They're doing decent for themselves. It's like all it takes is one single solid game, and maybe you can be back in the top 4 because the overall standings, it's still way too volatile. It's still way too fragile. Anything can happen. And especially yesterday, even MoGo Esports was trying their best to take a lot of those fights. Unfortunately, in the game 1 itself, MoGo Esports, they did take down God's Reign, but then later on, WSB wiped him out.
Yes, that is true. And again, when we moved on to the second one as well, we did not see them stepping up as much as we expected them to. And considering the fact that this team has been a championship-winning, title-winning team, they're the defending champions, seeing them struggle so much, it kind of gives us the idea that maybe the firepower or the early game presence that we really want to see from them is just not there.
Well, I mean, you know what? Let's move on forward and look at team stats of MoGo Esports. You've got Destro, who's, of course, played 7 matches, and in the span of 7 matches, he's only got 6 finishes to himself. In general, even Justin and Delta PG, the same stats on the board, and it's Shogun who's not able to pop up on the occasion with only 3 finishes. But then, at the end of the day, we know these are the defending champions as well of the BGMS, so anything can happen. They can pull out the wild card.
That is indeed true, because as you mentioned, it only takes you 1 game to climb up that entire ladder, right? Because we know Vasista, they claim that double bounty, were able to pick up a banger of a performance and show us some amazing skills. Yes, it is difficult to pull off, but again, if one team can do it, and that to the underdogs, the one that qualified, I think so. Yes, the teams that have won the championship definitely have the capacity to do it.
I mean, the crazy part is Vasista Esports did not get an invite. They came in through the qualifiers itself. So in general, Vasista Esports, they're over here like the wild card, and they aced it on their first chance that they got.
तो 2023 was exceptional for me and the team. हमने बहुत अच्छा किया. एक वो लेवल और बेंचमार्क सेट कर दिया था. तो अभी वही बात है, उस लेवल के कंपैरिजन में इतना अच्छा नहीं खेल रहे हैं अभी हम. तो जो लोग तालियां बजा रहे थे पिछले साल, थोड़ा गालियां दे रहे हैं. और मेरा ऐसा मानना है कोई हेटर वगैरह होता नहीं है, सबका अपना अपना ओपिनियन होता है. तो वो सब तो मैं चेंज कर ही दूंगा परफॉर्मेंस से वापस अपनी. रही बात, भरोसा रखो, परफॉर्मेंस ला के देंगे.
Destro, the IGL himself, giving some sort of semblance of hope to the fans, saying that yes, keep on trusting us, keep on putting a little bit more faith in this lineup, and I will give you guys the results. And Destro has done it time and time in the past, not just in BGMS. Right after BGMS, there was another official tournament, and Destro won that as well. So this man is capable of a lot of stuff.
That was a dream year definitely for the side of Destro and his boys. And again, yes, the name of the org has changed, but still the boys are exactly the same. So you know that this team holds that potential. But at the same time, yes, I think so. We really want to see them change those gears and step things up. And it seems that there's been, it seems like they've been habitual of playing a bit too slow. They need to pace up. That's what I think they need to do. But at the same time, there's another team that performed excellently in the opening week, but now are struggling.
Oh yeah, Xspark, the performance dip is clearly there, right? As you mentioned, in the opening week, Xspark was performing like the champion team, but then what exactly happened when they moved inside of the league stage? There's so many question marks around this entire roster. Let's move on and look at the stats of Xspark. You've got Shadow 7 with 4 finishes, Sarang with 8. Finishes are there on the board, but Xspark, unfortunately, they're not able to get the placement points.
It just seems like, yes, they do get the finishes, but at the same time, I really want to see them get very active in that power play as well and try to go in for the hunting party, because I still remember they had the bounty onto them on day number 1 and they were hunted right away, if I'm not wrong, by Raven, and that too on the map of Erangel, somewhere around Katka area, maybe just north of Katka. Yeah, I'm a nerd. But the point being, Team Xspark, they still hold that potential, and I still feel that they'd be able to make their comeback. They just need one good game.
I mean, Xspark, of course, holds that potential, man. Look at the players. Sarang is an assaulter. Spray God is an assaulter. Ninja Jod is the entry. So what else do you need? Every single player packs a lot of punch, and Shadow7 knows exactly how to utilize the firepower that team has. He's always been making sure that Xspark keeps him playing super aggressive in the roster, and that's what's been going on.
ट्रॉफी उठाने के बाद जब सारंग ने बोला रिस्पेक्ट माय टीम रिस्पेक्ट देम, तो उसका वही था कि टीएक्स का लेगेसी था पहले से, तो सब डाउट कर रहे थे कि ये टीम तो कुछ कर नहीं पा रही है क्योंकि ग्राइंड से भी बाहर हो गए थे हम लोग, तो वही बहुत डाउट कर रहे थे हम पे। तो वो सब हेटर्स के लिए था कि रिस्पेक्ट माय टीम और रिस्पेक्ट देम, कि उनको पता चले कि हमने प्रूफ करके दिखाया उनके लिए।
Shadow7, the young IGL himself, putting out some choice words on the board here. And we know what this man is capable of. Of course, he has led the team to success in the past official tournament. He has lifted the trophy with these boys. And Sarang himself made a statement in that official tournament saying, respect my teammates and respect my team.
And they have made their point. They've proven their point multiple times. I mean, I would not take things away even in the opening week as well. They struggled for a couple of, for probably 1 or 2 games, and then in the third one, they just shot up like anything else. So I think so they're just still trying to figure things out, because you've been mentioning it. It's a marathon. So you need to take things slow a little bit. You need to pace down as well. Figure out what other teams are trying to do, and then create a counter strategy that works out in the mid and late.
But for some reason, I know this team is anyways going to find the success, man. It's Team Xspark. I know at the end of the day, yeah, the start's a little bit loose, fine. It's Xspark, man. We all know what they're capable of. All it takes is one little spark, and when that ignites, when that happens, it turns into a complete volcano. And we've seen that happen a lot of those times in the past. So yeah, Xspark, it's complete fun. You know, at the end of the day, I know they can't pull it back. The real conversation here should be MoGo Esports. Because after their past glorious days, they haven't been able to return back to the same form.
Seems like I need to use the reality stone that I'm holding right here to try and change things up and maybe create a reality where MoGo is actually winning back again. But I know I don't need to do that because this team is very well capable of doing the exact same thing. I trust Destro.
Oh, that's a reality stone? I thought it looked like a crayon, so I thought it was a red crayon that you're just wearing. But yeah, I mean, there's so much more to talk about, right? Knowing the fact that today we're inside of the day 3 of the survival week, and for the players, it means a lot. Especially if you're in the top 4, we know what has happened. And I mean, a while ago, we also spoke about Global Esports' Ninja Boy just sort of denying the entire bounty.
Yes.
And I mean, I just want to look at the entire scenario once again, right? Because the players of Godsreen, one thing was for sure, they had those evil smirks on their faces when they knew they were so close to achieving that bounty. But then later on, Ninja Boy takes down one player of Godsreen, spoils their game, and then he takes himself down with the Molotov.
Yeah, I mean, there were again some mollies being thrown out by Erangel, but here's the thing, right? You know that this is the smart play out there. When you know that there's absolutely no way for you to survive whatsoever in that situation, you'd eventually try to deny the opponent's points. And this is the exact scenario that we were talking about. Fury losing his duel, important one, and then Ninja Boy just mauling himself as well, making sure that those 10 points are not going to God's Reign. And brownie points to you, because you figured out that God's Reign will third party in Severny.
Exactly. I mean, I pretty much knew that this was going to happen, right? Because Godsreen, they dropped right underneath Severny, and they sort of heard all that commotion, and why would you not want a third party, especially when there's a power play going on, and you know there's a team which has got a bounty on top of their heads? That's like the best possible scenario that you can have in your hands. And Godsreen, they pretty much were like the greedy goblins. They were there to try and get that, but then unfortunately that entire loot was denied by Global Esports' Ninja Boy. And now moving forward, even today's day is going to be really important for teams like Godlike, right? Yesterday's performance wasn't great at all. They had a chance to prove themselves in the game of Sandhawk, but Godlike unfortunately failed.
Yeah, that is true. I'm really expecting them to change the gears back again, because Punk, aggressive IGL, I like the way how they're now trying to take those fights proactively. That was exactly what was lacking from their side. They have the firepower as well, and Z-God, people were questioning if he's going to perform or not. I mean, the 1v3 against WSB is still going to send jitters down the spine, because even though WSB got the chicken on Sandhawk, we can't really forget those 1v3s, right? And since we're talking about it, there's also Raven Reaper.
Oh yeah, that is true. But Godlike and Team Z are the two teams that came in through with the audience choice. And for now, Godlike, you can't say doing decent, doing better compared to Team Z, but Team Z still not even able to find that one single good game. And Team Z at this point in time, you can clearly see the desperation now starting to settle. That in the previous game of Sandhawk that we witnessed, I mean, Team Z was looking desperate for the points. They were taking those fights, and unfortunately, because of that desperation, they also got taken down in return.
Yes, that is true, but I still feel that if you're looking at the brighter side of the spectrum as well, the map of Erangel, right? I still remember that they were the ones who slammed onto the compound of God's Reign, and they were eventually able to take them down as well, and keeping all the 4 players alive. It was just again Raven who took them down.
Hey, but you know what? For now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new season of daily BGMI action. This time with even more competition.
This time with even more comedy. With a lot more jaw-dropping moments. And also a few that many would want to forget. And for the first time ever, enjoy BGMI Master Series with Android. Welcome back to the biggest ever BGMI Carnival on national TV.
Day 2 of the survival week started off with quite a lot of question marks in our heads. Will Godlike perform once again, or will it be Vista Esports dominating the overall standings? And well, for the Godlike fans, it wasn't so much of a pleasant of a day. Godlike failed in the game 1, but WSB, they started things off with a bang. They started things off with a volcanic performance, which erupted up against every single team that faced off against them. Off the rip, things started off with quite a decent fashion. MoGo Esports wiping out God's Reen, and then later on, MoGo Esports getting wiped themselves out by WSB.
Absolutely true. It was a massacre by WSB throughout the entire lobby on the map of Sandhog. And honestly, no matter how much we want to praise WSB, the hearts were taken away by none other than the members of Team Raven, where Reaper was able to get a quick 1v3 against the size of Entity.
And this is the 1v3 you're talking about. Entity messing up massively, and Reaper wanting to go for the confirmations, but somehow the last man of Entity whiffed his shotgun shot, and Reaper got the lifeline that he needed, and he striked down the last player as well. WSB with that chicken dinner was flying high in the overall standings, but then second game started off with quite a questionable move as well from the side of Revenant Esports. Well, still Revenant Esports was the one to come out on top in that fight, but Team Forever shouldn't have lost that in the first place.
That is true. And Carpedium as well jumping in for the third party. And then the fun moment of Ninja Boy denying the bounty. To be honest, that was a very good attempt for the bounty hunting by God's Rend in this one. But that was basically put on stop by Team Z's insane prowess. But on the other side, Vista Esports hold against the member of Carnival Gaming and finishing them off was also a highlight play.
This game in general was filled with a lot of shenanigans. Team Z as well trying to do something in that game, or Team Z at least did a little bit better compared to all.
Promises किए जाते हैं तोड़ने के लिए, लेकिन यहाँ इस स्टेज पे at the Android Arena जो हम promises करते हैं, we always live up to it. हमने कहा था कि League Week 1 Survival जब start होगा तो यहाँ पे हालत जो है वो खराब होने वाली है सारी teams की, because everybody is being aggressive. So the big question is, day 3, who's going to be green, who's going to be mean? Ladies and gentlemen, Android BGMS Season 3 powered by Garnier में आपका स्वागत है. वो टीम देख रहे हो आप? ठीक वहाँ जिनके ऊपर वो बाउंटी भी लगी हुई है, वसिस्ता Esports मैन. किसने सोचा था that जो टीम बिना इनवाइट के पहुंचेगी, जो क्वालिफायर्स का रास्ता लेगी, they will be dominating that leaderboard. उनके 65 पॉइंट्स हैं एंड उन्होंने कई सारी बड़ी टीमों को भी धूल चटाई. एंड टॉकिंग ऑफ दोज बड़ी टीम्स, मोगो डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस, साथ में टीम Xspark. ये टीम्स जो काफ़ी फेवरेट्स थी, दे वर कंटेंडर्स, वो हैं बिल्कुल एट द बॉटम ऑफ द पिट्स. लेकिन थोड़ी सी हमने रिसर्च की, हमारे जो सूत्र हैं उनको काम पे लगाया, एंड वी रियलाइज्ड दैट मोगो के लिए एक टोटका जो है वो चल नहीं रहा. अब ये टोटका यानी कि सुपरस्टिशन क्या है? वेल, आई हैव टू कॉल अ मैन हु हैज बीन प्रीटी मच द रीजन फॉर दैट टोटका एंड सुपरस्टिशन. ओशन शर्मा इज बैक, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन.
व्हाट्स अप?
वेलकम बडी. हाउ वाज कोरिया?
कोरिया मस्त था. अब इंडिया आ चुके हैं तो अब बीजीएमएस की लहर में हम भी घुस चुके हैं.
देखिए, वो जो टोटके की हम बात कर रहे थे, ओशन, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, तो ये एक अर्बन लेजेंड बन चुका है दैट जब जब डेस्ट्रो को शुरुआत में मिलती है ओशन की घड़ी तो वहाँ पे लग जाती है जीत की लड़ी. लेकिन इस बार ऐसा लगा है कि लगी हुई है यहाँ पर डेस्ट्रो और मोगो ईस्पोर्ट्स की. सो व्हाट्स हैपनिंग मैन?
आई मीन बहुत सारे रॉन्ग डिसीजंस ऐसा तो लग रहा है कि वो फाइट्स में ले रहे हैं, थोड़े प्रिडिक्टेबल हो चुके हैं क्योंकि बहुत सारे टूर्नामेंट्स जीते हैं. बट आई एम प्रीटी श्योर मैं उतना सही से जवाब ना दे पाऊँ जितना सही से प्लेयर दे पाएगा.
ऑलराइट, लिसन, हम यहाँ पे बुलाने वाले हैं डेस्ट्रो और शैडो को. सो बॉयज, कम जॉइन अस. शैडो आजा भाई, डेस्ट्रो भी वहाँ से आ रहा है. सो आई थिंक अब क्योंकि हमने डेस्ट्रो को बुलाया है, डेस्ट्रो की पुरानी वाली घड़ी जो शायद सेट नहीं हो रही है, यू शुड गो अहेड एंड हैव योर कन्वर्सेशन विद हिम.
मोस्ट प्रोबब्ली. आई मीन डेस्ट्रो एक ऐसा खिलाड़ी जो ऑब्वियसली मास्टरमाइंड बन चुका था, ट्रॉफी मैग्नेट है, ऑफिशियल जीता, BGMS जीता, हर एक चीज़ एक एक पॉइंट से इनफैक्ट डेडलाइंस क्रॉस करी हैं, ट्रॉफी को रिपेल कर रहा है. आई मीन व्हाट वेंट रॉन्ग?
कुछ रॉन्ग तो अभी नहीं हुआ है, स्टार्ट ही हुआ है टूर्नामेंट एंड लास्ट ईयर भी हमारा स्टार्ट इतना अच्छा नहीं था. धीरे धीरे हम देख रहे हैं, एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हैं. बाय द टाइम वी गेट इनटू द लीग स्टेज, जब लीग स्टेज खत्म हो जाएगा तो आपको रियल गेम प्ले दिखेगा एंड इट्स लाइक मस्ती टाइम फॉर अस जो भी चल रहा है.
वैसे इन ट्रॉफी का जो वनवास है वो 6 साल था. 6 साल के बाद वो ट्रॉफी जो है हाथ लगी. बट शैडो यू नो कि कुछ हेटर्स जो हैं उनका ये मानना था यार ये तो फ्लूक था. इट वाज नॉट समथिंग दैट वी एक्सपेक्टेड. वो जो हेटर्स हैं उनको क्या कहना चाहते हो, बिकॉज योर टीम रियली नीड्स यू नाउ?
वही हेटर्स को तो वही कहना चाहूँगा कि वो यहाँ तक पहुँच नहीं पाया ना, तो इसीलिए हेट करते हैं. और बाकी फ्लूक बोलते हैं वो तो पता चल जाएगा ये टूर्नामेंट एंड होते तक कि फ्लूक है कि क्या मेहनत है.
देखिए अभी तो टूर्नामेंट काफ़ी सारा बचा है, अभी सफ़र बहुत लंबा है.
डेफिनेटली. एंड यू नो डेस्ट्रो, जिस तरीके से आपकी टीम ने लास्ट सीजन परफॉर्म किया था, अब यहाँ पर बाउंटी वापस से आई है, सब चीज़ें हैं. डू यू थिंक बाउंटी एक चैलेंज बन रहा है जिसको ओवरकम कर पाना मुश्किल हो रहा है फॉर द टीम्स जो अभी नीचे, या फिर ये आपके लिए एक विजन है कि बस अब बाउंटी टीम्स को मारना है एंड अच्छे से पॉइंट्स मिलेंगे?
आई मीन एडवांटेज तो है बाउंड्री टीम्स को मारने का. लाइक अगर एक भी बाउंड्री टीम मार दी तो पूरे 2 मैच के पॉइंट एक मैच में मिल जाएंगे. एंड इसीलिए कंपटीशन भी उतना ही ज़्यादा हो रहा है, सारी टीम्स वही सब कर रही हैं. बट आई डोंट थिंक सो ये सब प्ले ऑफ या फिर फाइनल्स में काम आएगा, तो लोग गलती कर रहे हैं.
ब्रो तुम दोनों की जो टीम है ना, लाइक वो डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस, तुम लोग इस टूर्नामेंट के पहले प्री टूर्नामेंट फेवरेट्स थे, लेकिन अब जब हम लीडर बोर्ड देखते हैं दोनों बिल्कुल बॉटम पर हो. सो इज़ दैट अ पॉइंट ऑफ कंसर्न? क्या कहीं पे बात चल रही है कि क्या हम यहाँ से अब उत्तर की तरफ जाएंगे? विल वी गो नॉर्थवर्ड्स ऑन दैट पॉइंट्स टेबल?
तो अभी तो कुछ चीज़ें ट्राई कर रहे थे हम लोग, तो वो वर्क नहीं कर रही है क्लियरली. तो अभी चेंज करेंगे कुछ स्ट्रेटजीज वगैरह में. अभी देखते हैं कैसे जाता है आगे जाके.
भैया देखिए यहाँ पे टीम एक्सपार्क और मोगो की हालत जो है एटलीस्ट लीडर बोर्ड के हिसाब से अच्छी नहीं है, लेकिन शायद मोगो के लिए आज चीज़ें बदलें, क्योंकि एक घड़ी जो है इट इज़ गोइंग टू एक्सचेंज हैंड्स, आई एम सॉरी एक्सचेंज रिस्ट. तो डेस्ट्रो, अब अगर इस घड़ी के एक्सचेंज के बाद भी अगर किस्मत नहीं चमकी तो किसको पकड़ना है ये तुम अच्छी तरीके से जानते हो. सो ओशन, डू दी ऑनर्स.
यस सर.
ओशन जो है अपनी घड़ी अब देने वाला है डेस्ट्रो को. वी आर गोइंग टू गो बैक टू आवर स्टूडियो. थैंक यू. एंड अब घड़ी जो है क्या वो मोगो esports का वक्त बदलेगी, ये वक्त ही बताएगा. ओ माय गॉड, देयर इज टू मच टाइम ऑन आवर हैंड्स राइट नाउ, बट राइट नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू गो बैक टू आवर बॉयज हु आर इन द स्टूडियो. भाई घड़ी मिल चुकी है, क्या आप किस्मत बदलेगी?
Interesting. I mean, yeah, watches exchanged, but is MoGo Esports going to perform better? Is the time going to change?
I mean, that totally depends on how close you are to a black hole, but we are not getting into the time dilations out here right now. Not the nerdy stuff. We are here for fun, action, and play, and that's exactly what we're going to witness today.
I mean, especially talking about the action itself, right? In the game one, now we know for Team Z, yesterday's day ended in quite a decent way.
Yes.
For Team Z, you can expect, yes, there might just be a bounce back that's needed. And Team Z was also moving up forward in quite the aggressive stances.
Yes.
For MoGo Esports, you can say the same thing as well. MoGo Esports is now sort of turned on that aggressive side, and they're going for the fights. Before yesterday's day, if you talk about it specifically, for Team Tamilas as well, they weren't doing too hot.
Yes, and that's a point that I really wanted to touch upon as well, because if I'm not wrong, on one of the previous days, we did see this team perform out of their mind, and they were like taking the fights with every other team. But yesterday, yes, it seemed like they were kind of shut down. But one team that really caught my eye were the sides of God's Reign on the map of Erangel. The reason being, they were literally trying to hunt down all the bounty teams out there. They tried on GE, and then they also took an attempt on Vashishtha Esports.
And if you're tuning in for the first time, you've got the bounty graphic on the screen. And just to let you guys know, if you eliminate all the 4 players, which is currently standing in the top 4 in the overall standings, you will be getting 10 additional points, and that's what you call the bounty. So imagine if you eliminate any of the teams which are currently in the top 4 in the power play itself, you will be getting 18 points. And as Destro himself mentioned, if you take down one bounty holding team, that's going to give you a points worth 2 matches.
Absolutely true. That's one of the main reasons why Vashishtha Esports is still sitting at top with 65 points. I mean, this team is absolutely diabolically maniac. 43 points in one game. That's one of the main reasons why it seems that there's no one who can eventually come close to this team. And honestly, they've still kept an average of around 10 to 11 points in every single game, right? So you really feel it difficult to close in that gap. I'm really worried for the side of Carnival Gaming. specifically because they played 4 of their games already, as well as 8-bit, because 8-bit was the team who was leading the charts on day 1.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at the latter half of the board, right? OG barely on the cusp of making it to the first half of the board on the 11th spot. You've also got Team 8-bit, as you mentioned, on the 12th spot. You've got Godlike not that far behind. Godlike as well is really close.
Yes.
You can't say still on the cusp of making it to the first half. Now, once again, everything is in the hands of Punk. If Punk is able to perform well, if Punk is able to IGL his team well, then things will be better. If that's not going to be the case, well, then Godlike will be repeating the same history itself. But as we move on and look at the TVS Wicked players, this is where things will be even more spiced up. Knuckle at the top. Knuckle is supposed to be the supporter for Aiku's Soul, but still with 18 finishes, Knuckle is currently leading the pack. And then you've got AKOP with 15, MaxiOP with 15 as well, Aditya with 12, and Juicy with 11.
I want to see where are the rest of the players as well, because you've got an Anonymous coming in from One Blade with 11. I'm not gonna talk about finishes because Apollo, Gamla Boy as well, all of them just sitting on that. You know that the competition is very close, but when it comes to how Knuckle is performing, I mean, the man is just out of his mind at this point. Team Soul, Somez, new addition. He has been working out really well with the team, gelling up perfectly.
I mean, in general, Aiku's Soul's lineup is a champion's lineup, right? Yes, one single man replaced. It's really not going to be taking that much of the glory away from the team itself, right? Still, the remaining 3 players, they are the champion players. They have won quite a lot of those trophies as well in the past, and we know what they're capable of. So yeah, Aiku's Soul once again performing just the way the fans expected them to, and we know it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. This tournament will take really long to end, so teams can take their time, and that's what Destro mentioned. Right now, it's the fun time.
Yeah, exactly. You can try and experiment a few extra things as well. And as I mentioned, every other team is just trying to test out their waters right now in the early stages as well to try and figure out how the others are playing, just reading onto the others' game. That's how the mind play work, right? That's how the macros work. But you know, the best part is that we are getting to see the action, and that's why I'm just going to lean back on which I'm going to enjoy all the action out there. But at the same time, I really want to see some things now being spiced up, because we saw the schedule as well. Miramar, the first one, and that too, it's going to be with the teams of Group E who are really aggressive.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, all these players are playing on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. With that being said, now it's time for us to toss to a short break.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw. In my beastly mode now. Wow.
Wicked Unleashed.
That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked. Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Shave it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
そんな場所だ。全部壊してみっか。俺は塔のてっぺんに登るんだ。
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
Whoa, or should we say super wicked? The beastly headlights and the Black Panther iconic mask screams power. Feel like Super Warrior with TVS Raiders Super Squad Black Panther Edition.
I know that's your favorite, Necro. That's why you learned it by heart and you really want to buy it real quickly. I understand that and don't worry about it. You will get the opportunity. But for now, I really want to touch up upon the fact how almost all the teams in the lobby have got a possibility of taking down 3 bounty teams that are currently present in this map of Miramar.
Yeah.
Vashishta Esports, Global Esports, and if I'm not wrong, one of them is going to be coveted. We'll have to get a check on that, but I'm so very excited to see how aggressive we're going to see this lobby get, and that too so early on.
Hey, listen, all that is fine, right? We touched up on Carnival Gaming. We also touched up on Team Xspark. We also touched up on MoGo Esports. But what about Revenant Esports? This team has always been trying to fight for the championship. They'll always been trying to fight for that belt. But unfortunately for Revenant Esports, they're just never able to get their hands onto it. They get super close, but still, they're way too far away from snatching it. And right now, they're at the latter half of the board in the overall standing, somewhere at the bottom.
Seems like that money in the bag is a bit too high for them as the ladder gets knocked down every single time by someone or the other. But perfectly mentioned as well. But at this time, I still feel that I'm going to be hopeful for this team. Because again, we have seen Sensei talk about his new boys as well and how they have been performing really good too.
Yeah.
And honestly, in the opening week, if you do remember it, Revenant were the ones who had the second position on the end of that day 1. And no one anticipated that Revenant would be there. That's how silent finishers these players are.
I mean, hands down, Sensei's entire team, they just seem really powerful, right?
Yes.
You've got Raiden now, the new addition, the young gun. In the past, this man used to play for WSB, and we know what this guy is capable of as well. For Revenant Esports, things have always been really nice. And now that Sensei has also brought in a couple of new players to play with, Blaze has always been there. Blaze and Sensei, they go long back. Good friends, of course, off the screen as well. And now Revenant Esports' new lineup, this new change, it sort of did work out maybe in the opening week considering they did qualify. But over here in the league stage, in the survival week itself, things are looking way too dicey. As we move on to the game 1 of the day itself, the players are locked in and loaded, but the plane fly path starts all the way from La Trilera towards El Azhar.
A beautifully centralized plane path. If you want to go to any corner of the map, you'd be able to without any major difficulties. So I think so we're going to see almost all the similar drop locations for most of these teams. MoGo going back over towards the same eastern paths where they love to drop. WSB as well taking an early drop will probably try and end up somewhere towards El Pozo too. I don't think so it's going to be any major difficulties or any early drop clashes that we are seeing right now happen. I really wanted to see where OG are going to land up, right? Because I remember talking to some of the players and they did mention that they are so eager to take those early fights specifically for the bounties.
I mean, who wouldn't want to take the early fights, right? Vashishta Esports right now, they're one of those teams that has got the bounty on top of their heads. And if you'd like to say, if you do take down Vasista Esports, you might just be feeling like gods at that point in time, right? You've also got Revenant Esports taking an exit from the plane.
True.
I mean, Revenant Esports as well, moving down south, somewhere closer to Los Leones and Impala. Then you've also got One Blade drop colliding against their foes. And this one's now going to be interesting, right? This has been happening for time and time in the past, and once again, it repeats itself. As One Blade, unfortunately losing out on one of their own. Anonymous is knocked out for now. But it's not going to be that big of a deal considering the man will be back upon his feet. Double barrel shotgun. It's way too tough to connect all the shots with that gun, and that's why he's missing out on a lot of those shots as well. But Carpadium slowly and steadily hunting down the players of One Blade as they do not even stand a chance against them.
Only just one taken out, that's about it. And as of now, it's going to be KSR7 standing up only for so long. Finally taken down, and it's going to be Carpadium with early 8 points, losing just one member, and that's Kamla Boy.
Yeah.
I think so it's going to be hurting them a little bit, though, in the meantime. But at the same time, I want to focus on the fights between Godslane as well as Team Xspark, because Ninja Jord has been taken down. It seems that they've suffered a massive casualty.
Listen, all that is fine. But now the bounty is not up for grabs anymore on Carpadium.
True.
Considering one of the men is already lost out. And the only way you can grab the bounty is by taking down all the players of a team which is currently in the top 4. And Carpadium lost one Ben. But looking at that, Team Xspark, unfortunately, they do start things off on a decent note, but then later on, things sort of crumble down.
True that. And since you're talking about crumbling down, we're seeing Forever up against OG, and it seems like 3 of the OG members are now down. It's all down to just Taro, who's trying to run away over behind that warehouse. They're going to lose on a lot of members, though. It only depends on Aru how quickly he'd be able to finish off the members. Ash is still here on the watchman duty. We'll make sure to try and take Aru down, who's basically got an AKM in his hand. Team Forever should easily finish him off, and that's exactly what will happen. Now, here's a fun fact. These are the first 8 points for Team Forever that they've taken in the power play.
I mean, better late than never, right? It's fine. Team Forever getting those 8 points in the hands. It's all good in the hood. I mean, there's also another drop collision over here in Los Leones. Revenant Esports with the boys up against Team Tamilas. And Team Tamilas, they have definitely flipped the switch. They've been looking really aggressive recently. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to be shying away from this fight at all.
True.
They would be eager to welcome the players of Revenant Esports up against them. But every single player from the side of Team Tamilas, they're not even moving an inch. They're not even moving a muscle. Everyone's just playing it super quiet.
I kind of want to see a possible hunt for the members of Global Esports or maybe Vasista Esports, right? Vasista just on a bit of east towards Graveyard, north of La Bendita. And over towards the eastern part is where Global Esports also is. I want to see who's going to target them. Because right now, again, we've been talking about Team Tamilas as well, how aggressive they've been. I haven't quite seen them going for the hunt of the bounty teams, though, apart from probably in the opening days when they hunted down 8-bit.
I mean, looking at the replay for now, this is how the fight escalated between One Blade and Carpadium. I mean, Carpadium currently having the bounty on top of their head. One Blade, they did try to take the advantage of that, but unfortunately completely failed. And for Carpadium, this is a dream start. 8 points to kick things off with. That's one hell of a way to start things off. And then even God's Reen, they've got their hands on 8 points. So even for God's Reen, that's another brilliant start. For Revenant Esports, in my opinion, even they need to start doing the same thing. Start hunting down teams in the power play.
True. And honestly, I mean, Team Forever as well, opening their account for those early power play points. It clearly gives you the idea as well that this team is now also a part of that big race for the top 4. Because again, it's all about being in that top 4. Yes, you'll be having the bounty on your head, but at the same time, you do not have to go through that excruciating process of the playoffs to try and qualify for the finals. The top 4 are directly going to move into it. So that's where most of these teams are going to focus on.
Pretty much. I mean, you've got the map feed on the screen for now.
I mean, how slow has this first circle been of Miramar?
It's not slow, actually. A decent amount of teams have already been eliminated, but the fights were in quick bursts.
That is true.
So that's why it feels slow right now, because it's just peace all across the board, right? Just look at that. 3 teams eliminated already. That's a decent amount of players not in the game anymore, right? You've got One Blade eliminated, Team Xspark eliminated, OG eliminated. So I guess one question is clear. Will Xspark make a comeback? The answer is no.
True that. But they still have one more game remaining after this, so maybe I'm gonna prep up for what they want to do in the next one. Because again, it's Revenant, Global, Entity, MoGo, all of them just playing this one map of Miramar. And then we'll be joined in by the members of 8-Bit, Carnival, Team Z, as well as Raven. But in this meantime, you know, in this entire duration, I really want to see how Soul is again going to perform. Because this team, with the way how they showcase their wrath in the opening week, specifically on the last couple of days, moving all the way from down bottom to the 2nd or 3rd place, clearly shows you that the potential is immaculate. And even though Somme's addition is there, people questioned it, but he was basically being asked by multiple teams out there.
I mean, in the past, this man used to play for Enigma Gaming. His name is not heard. But one thing is for sure, the man packs a lot of punch. He's got some nice skill set. And there's a reason why he's currently representing such a massive organization like IQ Soul.
True.
But yeah, this stalemate once again continues. I'm not even sure what's going on at this point. Team Tamilas and Revenant Esports. Revenant Esports, they seem pretty chill. They're looting up, they're scooting up, they're moving like a pack. They're making sure that the loot flow is not going to be stopped just because of this one single stalemate. While Team Tamilas, they've stopped everything. It's like a trap being set up, and they're just waiting for the players of Revenant Esports to walk into that trap.
True. I don't think so Revenant are actually going to walk into that one, because they
Yeah,
might have
no.
already seen Team Tamilas might be somewhere around, or at least, if not the name of the team, then the players.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Revenant Esports, they've been dropping in Los Leones for a while now.
Yes.
They know their boundaries. They know where the opponent team's going to be dropping as well. So they know exactly how to avoid those teams. Sometimes, maybe if things are miscalculated, yes, there can be a collision. But usually in Los Leones, it's too much of a big of a city, right, for the collision to come through. Global Esports and Vasista Esports, hold on. This can be a really spicy fight, but unfortunately the execution is not there.
It's like both the teams decided for a truce and move backwards. They don't really want to force an issue specifically out in such an open ground. And that too when the blue is closing in.
I mean, look at the points table, right? Vasista Esports, they've got 65 points. That's such a big lead in the overall standings. And if you move down on the 3rd spot, it's Carpadium with just 36 points. So that's already a major cushion that Vasista Esports is leading with. And imagine if Vasista Esports wins against Global Esports in this power play, and that too, they will be able to claim the bounty points. So that's 18 points more and counting.
Oh my goodness. And the fun fact is, all 3 bounty teams are actually together. They're pretty close to each other.
I guess at this point, they've just communicated with each other. Yeah, we're going to be hunted down. It's better to just play with each other, maybe. And make sure that we're not the ones to get hunted down. Deny the possibilities of a major comeback.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that eventually pans out. Because again, at the same time, Reckoning this time around, going in for the slow rotation. They haven't really seen any kind of aggression from Godlike as well, because again, there was no as such action around them.
Got the circle. And speaking of the circle itself, you can also circle to search on your Android devices. Quite a cool feature, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can quickly find out whatever you want to know about what's on your screen. Unfortunately, the players in the lobby, they can't really do that. Otherwise, they would have tried to figure out where the bounty teams are.
That's the exact thought that came to my mind as well. I was about to say that as well, right? Circle to search. Just circle on your phone and maybe you'll get to know the exact locations of the enemy teams. Yeah, but enough of the banter. MoGo Esports, defending champions, playing it really safe and sound this time. We thought that MoGo Esports, they switched up the pace. They flipped the switch, but no, that's not the case anymore. MoGo Esports, once again, back to the basics. They like to play from the edge of the zone, and that's what they're doing.
The longer you are on top, the easier it becomes to counter you. And again, 2023 has been an entire year for MoGo. So it's just as Destro mentioned as well, right? He's been on top for a long time. It seems like their strategies have been figured out.
Makes sense.
I want to see some changes, some updates in that. But again, seeing how they've started the early game, it just feels that they're going to go for the exact same route that they normally would. And now it is possible they might be pincered in between iQOO Soul as well as Godlike.
Global Esports playing it safe this time. They're not really going for the aggressive approach anymore because they know they've got the bounty on top of their head. If they end up dying to some team, then the bounty will be gifted to someone else.
True.
And they will be getting 10 additional points after taking down Global Esports. So it's definitely something that's not going to work with them. Gamla Boy unfortunately got taken down off the rift for Carpadium. But I'm not going to lie, seeing Gamla Boy, Pokar, and Samrat separating was something that I never saw coming.
I mean, there are quite a few things that you would never imagine to be happening, but it definitely did. But wait a second, hold on a second. I was mentioning about a possible collision of Soul as well as MoGo, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. 1-for-1 trade for both the teams.
Sama knocked out and finished. iQOO Soul in a rough patch. Joker's ball is slowly and steadily ticking to his death. And now there's only 2 players remaining. MoGo Esports, even they're on the prowl. They want to take advantage of this entire fight that's currently brewing up on the screens. iQOO Soul, only 2 players trapped in this compound, and Noko gets knocked out. Now it's all down on Ronnie, and even Ronnie's position is known. He's moving up, he's marching up against the players of MoGo Esports, and just like that, within a flash, the entirety of iQOO Soul, they come crashing down.
But here's the thing, Godlike was also around the vicinity. They've heard all the commotions. This is the perfect time for them to go possibly for a third party. But I still feel the HP bars are very healthy for the team.
And just to let you guys know, the power play is not active anymore. It's the stage 2 of the game.
Yep.
You might see the power play graphic at the top of your screen, but it's not active anymore. So yeah, it's just 4 points that they got with that fight.
Oh.
And now look at Destro. What a spray down that was! One single spray gets 2 players knocked out. Godsreen in a world of trouble now. Or is it Godlike? Yeah, Godlike in a world of trouble.
It seems that Jonathan has to go massive right now with a shotty in the hand. Gets one, drops down, but such a low HP. He needs to survive. Behind the vehicle as well, it can blow up at any possible moment.
Oh, yeah.
And he will fall, but the support was there from Admino. And the man was able to wipe the floor off of MoGo. Saves his team and all 4 of the members.
MoGo Esports. Luckily enough for them, at least they were able to squeeze some sort of points away before getting taken down, right?
My God, I'm just having a sigh of relief for Godlike, because honestly, with the way how they were open by the angle of Destro and he was able to spray down 2, I thought Godlike will retreat, but they did not.
Admino has always been the main day saver for Godlike, man.
Whoa.
And once again, he proves out to be a hero. For a moment, I thought that was Godsreen.
I know, right?
Because from the far fray, I wasn't even able to see their names, and Destro was able to find 2. So yeah, that's quite impressive from Destro, but unfortunately his team is not in the game anymore. WSB constantly peppering down the shots in the front. And yeah, it's way too far away. I don't think so anything can be found on that range.
Yeah.
WSB at this point just letting the opponents know that they're present over there. And yeah, even for WSB, they've got nothing to lose. They're already doing really good in the overall standings.
True. Loved how the fact you touched upon WSB, right? Doing pretty good in the overall standings as well. That chicken on the map of Sandhawk. There was just one small mishap on, if I'm not wrong, the map of Miramar itself, when Zgot got a clutch against them 1v3. But they redeemed themselves next day, first game. And they're probably looking for the exact same thing even now. But one team that I'm going to keep my eyes on is definitely going to be Godlike in this situation, as well as God's Reign, right? Both the teams that have got gods in their name, because they'll be the last ones to rotate inside the circle. They will probably tank a bit of the damage from blue as well. And look at the amount of cluster that is forming all the way around that off-center area.
Off-center. Revenant Esports on the southern side. I'm not going to lie, my eyes are going to be locked on Revenant.
Yes.
For them, this game matters a lot. Xspark as well could have said the same thing for them, but unfortunately, they're just not in the game anymore. For MoGo Esports as well, it mattered a lot. But yeah, with just 4 points, MoGo Esports, they took an exit. It's quite unfortunate for the boys. Before Revenant Esports, still alive and cooking. There's a chance they can be taken down soon enough if they keep on following the same pathway that they're moving up. But Revenant Esports, they're hunking down for now.
True.
And I don't think so they're going to move away from there.
I mean, unless the zone forces them out, I don't think so they're going to be, again, leaving those compounds. It's a good positioning as well. They've got a bit of a map control around their area. They've got an information as to what's happening where, so there's no good reason for them. But again, as you've been talking and touching the point about Revenant, I want to focus down on this fight again. As to, again, Destro, he took his sweet time into spraying with that Scar.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan, this fight was important. Was able to knock one and then turn around, get the second, and then Admino jumped in for the support. I mentioned he needs to take down 2, and he did.
Godlike. Good defense. I mean, at the end of the day, they just had 2 players up and standing right.
Here's this thing. I just feel in this situation that whenever MoGo is the one who's defending and they're answering back, they feel a bit more comfortable.
In my opinion, MoGo should have pushed a little bit with more of a wider approach.
Yes.
All the players, they just breached in quite a funneling way. They just breached in on the same breaching point, but instead, that should not have been the case. They should have went in with much more of a wider approach. They should have spread themselves out with that push, and then try and take control against the players of Godlike. Yeah, even though you do find the 2 knockouts, you still never know what's waiting on the other side, right? Especially in the shotgun meta, anything can happen. One single slap, you're taken down up close. So, anything can happen. And looking at the zone right now, it takes a drastic shift towards La Drillera. So, once again, the shift is quite insane. Chumacera is now going to be occupied by the zone, and the high grounds of Chumacera will be taken by the players of Revenant Esports, maybe, because they're the closest.
Seems to be the case, but they're constantly being fired upon by the members of Assista as well. But for now, we also did see a bit of a skirmish between God's Reign as well as the members of Carpedium. Carpedium who wanted to just flee the battleground at that point. Because again, they want to prioritize the circle first and then focus down on what's happening around them. But a team that, again, I wanted to touch up a point as well onto this one. A team, yes, which has got a chicken, but at the same time, has been struggling when it comes to closing out on their opponents is Entity. 2 different clutches. I remember one was Raven Reaper, and that 1v3 was against Entity. And then it was Orangutan as well yesterday on the last map of Erangel, where it was AK along with Viz. And they both were able to clutch up against Entity itself in a 4v2. So
yeah.
It seems they need to do a bit of a brushing up, but look at the trifecta right now. WSB, Carpedium, as well as God's Reign, all of them around each other.
Deadly forces, right?
Yep.
God's Reign, after getting those 8 points, one thing is for sure, they have tasted that blood, and now they're just going to be even more hungry. For Carpedium, you can't say the same thing. Carpedium can definitely try and go for the fights, considering the bounty's already nullified. They've already lost out on 1 player. So if WSP does come out on top in this fight, they cannot claim the bounty anymore. Before WSP, it's a decent spot as well to be in, but it also seems quite exposed.
Yes.
If the teams, they start a stack around the players of WSP, then it will be a big trouble.
True. I mean, the eastern end of Chumacera right now is a bit empty, but at the same time, it could be taken up by any of the team that will be trying to jump in from the same area. That's Reckoning, Vashista, Revenant, even Godlike. They're also moving in almost the similar direction, so you've got to be wary about that. Because it seems there's a humongous cluster being forming in over towards the southeastern edge of the circle right now. And this is the exact place that I was talking about, Revenant.
As I mentioned, Revenant Esports will try to go for the high ground. And that's what they do. Vashista Esports, up against the players of Revenant. For Revenant Esports, it's a win-win situation. If they do take down the players of Assista Esports, they claim the bounty. All the players in the front line, Secret, Shadow, Apollo, and then you've also got Vixkey in the back.
There's one thing. There's a high possibility of a double third-party scenario here if the fight eventually breaks out, because there's Reckoning in vicinity, there's also Godlike who will potentially try to jump up on them. And
I mean, listen, this is my thought. If Godlike does want to go for this fight, and if they execute the fight directly head-on, then they will be eliminated. They don't stand a chance. If Godlike really wants to go for this fight, in my opinion, this fight is just not worth it for Godlike. They should avoid it and directly focus on the zone. And now they've also got a chance to do so. All they need to do is just move down south, keep on moving from the blue zone itself, trying to avoid this entire fight. But it's the players of Assista Esports. They do spot out the players of Godlike, and now constant shots are being taken against them. And Godlike, at this point in time, they cannot afford to get hurt.
Okay. I'm just changing the direction entirely, firing a few shots, spotting a couple of players from Reckoning. It seems like Assista Esports wants a piece of pie from every single direction. That one friend of yours who opens up all the packets of snacks only to eat just one of them. One from each of them, I meant. But either ways, finally, the silence has been broken. It's Entity up against God's Reign right now in the compound.
And Entity, they're getting a little bit eager. They want to shut down the players of God's Reign as Phantom hits the deck. Somraj, what a beautiful Molotov that was. God's Reign down on a man. The firepower now looking way too shaky. And for God's Reign, the backup as well is now starting to arrive. The players are now starting to gather up. Somraj and his boys, they're ready to make the pounce up against the players of God's Reign. But the Fallen Man is now back upon his feet. And this pounce, it looks way too risky. Entity Gaming with two players up and running up against the players of God's Reign. Even Altu gets shut down. Nicely done by Raiden. And Entity, oh, what a catch that was from Equinox too. Another man taken down for God's Reign. Now it feels like they don't stand a chance against the firepower of Entity. Especially if there's Raiden in the addition. Things are looking way too dicey, but unfortunately for Entity, Raiden gets lost in this duel. But for God's Reign, they're way too vulnerable.
Absolutely. Low HP on the players as well. Equinox finally, he's going to be spotted as well. But it's going to be the full push down coming in. Troy wants to jump in as in Somraj will be able to shut them down. Perfect play coming in from their side. Entity doing a phenomenal job. And in the meantime, we were also seeing the fight breaking out between Revenant, and they were able to take down the members of WSB2, and now Godlike wants a piece of that pie.
It was a systematic dismantle against God's Reign. While God's Reign, they just looked completely lost. They did not know exactly what to do in that fight. I also saw the players of Godlike taking a fight against Revenant Esports.
Exactly.
And I guess for Revenant, that's not that good of a sign, right? For Revenant Esports now taking down to just that one last man, it's not looking too hot. Assista Esports on the move, and WSB, they might just be on the receiving end of things. Armand in the front gets strike down instantly. And now for WSB, it's all down to Gods in the back. Can he make something happen? Assista Esports, this is quite a bad position to be in, considering you're at the bottom, and the other teams from the top can definitely rain down hellfire against you.
Absolutely.
And Reckoning Esports, now they have sort of pinned their eyes against Godlike, but Hunters, he's got a little bit of more fire from the opponents coming in.
It's going to be important as well, this entire position too. Plus you've got to jiggle around that blue. And at the same time, since the circle has taken such a hard north shift, Team Forever is basically in a prime position right now to secure this chicken. Even you could say Vashishta, but they are on the lower ground as you mentioned. And it's Global Esports now also making their rotation over from the western part. Will probably try and pounce on the members of Entity, who are also close by to Carpedium. It's going to be an important area to watch out for. And again, after that, the southern part entirely, because that's where Reckoning and Godlike are, along with Team Tamilas, who have not yet strike.
Reckoning on the move. They do not want to challenge this fight against Godlike. One thing is for sure, Godlike is a force to be reckoned with in this entire game. They've taken down two big names so far, MoGo and even Revenant. They haven't fully taken down Revenant Esports just yet. There's still one more man left alive. But yeah, it is what it is. Godlike, they're indeed doing really good. And as I mentioned, especially after yesterday, they needed this recovery. Yesterday's day was pretty bad for them.
True.
The elimination feed now once again starting to pop, as you do see Pukar taking shots against Reckoning Esports, and one of the men gets knocked out.
A couple of members from Reckoning, to be very specific, because it was Pukar who was able to shut both those players down. He was holding the angle for any kind of push over from the northeastern part, and that's exactly where Reckoning were. So now Godlike's going to be feeding that information as well. They're going to be getting the information. And I think so they will potentially decide to go along the same way, but if they do, if they try to slam it directly, they're going to be stuck between 3 to 4 different teams. If they move it directly over a bit more north, Reckoning's going to be there to answer back. You really don't want to be in the position where Godlike is right now. There's just so much chaos happening over down south.
Yeah. Even Global Esports now is going to start to move in at the same time, right? And Team Timulus, there's a high chance you might see that collision come through. Global Esports and Team Timulus, the fight happens. Team Timulus, they want to breach inside of the zone, while Global Esports, they will be on the defensive side of things. And Slug is taking a lot of damage from the back. Patches himself up in time. Global Esports, this spot is not looking too comfy for them, considering they're also getting shot at from the sidelines. And for Team Timulus, it's Mayday. They need to make it inside of the zone. It's all panic across the board.
Absolutely.
Even Team Forever's taking advantage of this entire fight. From the far fray, they're third-partying this. And for Global Esports, of course they're going to be in the advantage because they're really close to the zone. But Global Esports, as soon as they make it to the zone, they face off against Entity.
Team Tamilas now on the receiving end of the spectrum, and guess what? It's Z-God yet again, trying to capture a couple of extra finishes as well, but he should technically be taken down as this zone took another shift, a bit more centralized this time. So Team Forever, this is basically their game. This should be their game, unless we see some good slam coming in from the other side of the spectrum.
Hold on, seems like it, but you cannot conclude anything just yet. Godlike unfortunately losing out on Jonathan and Punk a while ago. We missed that, but I'm not sure what exactly went wrong there. I guess getting caught in rotation, that's what probably happened.
Yeah.
Considering so many teams in general got caught in that rotation while they try to make it in. And one of those was also Team Timulus. They took a lot of those shots upon themselves, and now it's just down to Manti. And I'm not sure how much Manti can make happen. Looking at Global Esports, it was quite a flawless rotation towards that zone because they were not that far away in the first place, but still moving up north and a little bit up against the players of Entity. This is quite a gutsy move.
True. Shots being fired by Arcelin out there, and again, Global Esports is also in a position where you just mentioned that they can potentially try and steal it away, but they've got to take care of Entity as well as Carpedium. And finally, the fight's been broken out. Aquanox wants to jump in as well. Pukar's been brought down on his knees as Fierce is the only man standing. Somrat's got to make a run for it as he is tanking the blue. Troy is out there. He needs to make sure that he takes down Fierce. It's basically down to a 1v2 situation. Max as well is going to be trying to help his teammate, as they're going to be having to make a move for themselves too. Troy is such a low HP, no more time to heal maybe. He still has. He decides not to. I think so that's again a big problem because Slug is out there, gatekeeping everyone on the other side.
Oh, Global Esports, of course, from the top, once again, just dominating the grounds, making sure that they're getting as much as visual confirmation as possible. You can say they're also controlling the final wave here. Slug, he is taking a decent bit of shots upon himself from Team Forever.
Ash.
But once again, for Global Esports, they're also doing quite good in the overall standings. They have successfully avoided the bounty as well. And now Slug, still a little bit hungry for those eliminations around him. He wants to go for that finishing blow. He wants to go for the victory in this game. But even Carpedium, they can stand in their way. And you really got to give it to the boys of Carpedium, man. Once again, super consistent. Max Payne and Fierce, the final two remaining players.
I don't think so they'll be able to do a lot from the position that they are holding in right now. And Maxi is just about to fall in a while. He's got a last few first aids remaining in his own hands. And I don't really feel like, without getting any single finish, just the position points are going to help you out a lot. That's the only thing. It basically is like something is better than nothing. But it's absolutely fine. Sometimes it happens. Either way, the circle was taking some nasty hardship this time around. But finally, he's going to be taken down. Guess what? It's Maxi who strikes. And it's Maxi who'll ruin the game for Carpedium even further.
At least before getting taken down, he got one for himself, right?
Wait a second. He got both.
Look at Global Esports. The players now starting to move up. And as you mentioned, he got both. That was crazy. Interesting, right? One single spray striking down both. But while all that commotion was going on, Global Esports, they made their push against Team Forever. And Team Forever, slowly and steadily, even they're losing out on the man number. Now it's Slug and Arsalan pushing up close and personal. Arsalan is squad exposed. He gets knocked out. Team Forever with a clear-cut advantage. They've got the man number up against the one single man of Global Esports, and Slug gets strike down as well. Finally, Team Forever, they get a chicken dinner to kick things off with.
Just as I was saying, they had the prime positioning in the circle. They were making sure that they were holding all the angles correctly. They were catching all the teams in rotation, capturing all those flushes as well. And after having those early 4 finishes, those early 8 points, this team had such a perfect vision that was just inevitable.
Oh man, Team Forever finally getting this game in their hands. While teams like Revenant Esports, where we had a lot of expectations from them, once again they fail. The same thing can be said for MoGo Esports and even Team Xspark. But let's move on to the stage for a short interview.
टीम फॉरएवर बातें चल रही हैं, लेकिन ऐश आपकी ग्लोबल के साथ जो लास्ट बैटल थी उसमें मैं चेक कर रहा था, उनके सिर्फ 3 फिनिशेस से तुमने 12 निकाले हैं यार। ये जो ओवर अग्रेशन दिखाया तुमने राइट फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट ऑफ द मैप, क्या ये सोची समझी बात थी?
नहीं, मतलब हमारा चुम्मा में एक तो ओजी से ड्रॉप क्लैश है, वो पॉइंट उठा है। एंड देन जी का एक्चुअली अभी पता चला शायद उनकी बाउंटी भी मिली है, अभी भी श्योर नहीं मिली है ना। हाँ, तो
सब कुछ अभी पता लगेगा, तुम्हें पता लग जाएगा जैसे तुम लोगों को ब्रेक मिलेगा ना, सारे नंबर्स तुम्हारे सामने होंगे।
ओके ओके, मतलब ऐसा आइडिया नहीं था, बट स्टिल जोन बन रहे थे तो हमारा यही था कि कन्वर्ट करना है। एट द एंड गेम चिकन कन्वर्ट होना चाहिए।
भाई ये ड्रॉप क्लैश में ओजी के साथ तुम्हारा क्या चल रहा है? मतलब ऐसी फीलिंग आ रही है या तो वो रहेंगे या तो हम रहेंगे।
नहीं, मतलब ड्रॉप्स का यही रहता है, उन्हें भी चुम्मा चाहिए, चुम्मा सिरा चाहिए, हमें भी चाहिए। एंड अभी स्टेज है तो देखते हैं फाइनल्स में किसके कंट्रोल में रहता है।
वैसे एक और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सवाल, पोजीशन तुम्हारे पास थी, हाई ग्राउंड तुम्हारे पास था, तो उस टाइम पे व्हाट वाज योर गेम प्ले लाइक? क्योंकि वहाँ पे आपको एक एडवांटेज मिल चुका था, जो बाकी टीम्स आपके सामने आने वाली थी। किस सोच के साथ आप उतरे?
मतलब एडवांटेज था, बट जस्ट जो एजेस होते हैं जहाँ से टीम आने वाली है वो क्लियर रख रहे थे, प्रायोरिटी क्लियर कर रहे थे, कहाँ से स्लैम आ सकते हैं, और उसके अकॉर्डिंगली खेल रहे थे।
ऑलराइट, थैंक यू टीम फॉरएवर। पहला विनर चिकन डिनर आज का इन्होंने निकाला है। इट्स जस्ट अबाउट टू गेट इवन हॉटर, लेकिन वो होगा दूसरे मैच में। राइट नाउ इट्स टाइम फॉर अ ब्रेक।
हम शरीफ क्या हुए, पूरी लॉबी ही बदमाश हो गई। फियर फॉरएवर।
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you look. Make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
To live your life the way you want. Compete like the toughest challenger. Dance like there's no tomorrow. Celebrate every second you are alive. Life has no...
Team Forever finally finding some sort of sigh of relief, if you would like to say. Before Carpadium, once again the consistency rises. Even for Global Esports, they're not that far away from the first spot. And now this is where the real problems start to rise, because yes, Vasista Esports, they do have a decent amount of cushion to play things off with, but now slowly and steadily the teams underneath them, they're starting to close up onto that cushion.
Absolutely, they're slowly starting to build up as well, and they're trying to take them down. They're trying to take down those gods, right, who are sitting on top. But since we're already talking about gods, right, you know, there are quite a lot of animes out there that have a tower win, which you basically got to climb and you've got to reach. That's called a Tower of God, by the way. If you like it, make sure you have the subscription of Crunchyroll. But for now, we're going to be moving back on for the match stats, as Ninju is going to be the MVP. Team Forever, Necro, I called for their chicken.
Well, Team Forever, as you mentioned, he called for a chicken, and Team Forever, yes, of course, considering they had the best spot inside of the zone. Anyone could have predicted that. Come on, man. They were literally in the best possible spot in the zone. That was the only compound that was available, and around them, it was just the open grounds. So yes, it makes a lot of sense why Team Forever was the one to get that chicken dinner in the hands. But yeah, I'm still going to be raising a lot of those question marks between the fight of Entity and Godsreen. What exactly was going on in the heads of Godsreen? Because they seemed lost.
Exactly, because it seemed a bit more confusing as well, if they really wanted to stay for that fight, or if they wanted to just back off from that, and if they kind of got confused in that scenario and eventually were taken down. Though, but again, with the way how things started early on in this entire game itself, Carpadium again had a phenomenal start. We saw those teams getting those early finishes as well, some early fights. Team Xspark facing the exact same struggles that they've been facing for the past 3 days.
I mean, for Xspark, the firefight just not being able to convert, and now that's starting to be a main cause of concern. Even for IQ Soul, unfortunately, MoGo Esports, they came in with the slam and they shut down the entirety of IQ Soul. But then later on, MoGo Esports, they had a really brilliant opening against Godlike. but unfortunately the conversion wasn't too good because all the players, they went in with the same line of sight.
I mean, this almost a 180 turn from Jonathan and getting the second player who was actually targeting Admino. That was where things changed, because then, again, you already saw where the last player was funneling in from. So Jonathan was basically a body at that point and Admino was able to flush that player out. But honestly, every single team, they were just trying to take those high grounds.
Yeah.
And on the other side, Team Forever decided, you know what, we've got some cool looking compounds. Let's just see if the circle forms on us. If it does, then sure, we go for the chicken, and that's exactly what happened.
I mean, Global Esports, they did end things on the second node, but still they did not have a lot of elimination points. So you can't say that was a decent game. It's not that bad. You can't say Global Esports once again on the consistent note. Before Carpedium, that previous game was really good. As I mentioned, now in the overall standings, Carpedium is going to be moving up a little bit more. Look at that, 17 points from Carpedium, but Team Forever getting 36 points. And yes, they did claim that bounty
on Global Esports. Even I wanted to see if they were able to do that or not, because there was one member from GE who was just not there. What I saw at the end was a 3v4. But it seems like through all that chaos, when we were focusing on Godlike, Carpedium, when we were seeing a Reckoning, that was the time when they were able to claim one person.
Hey, but look at the latter half of the board, man. Still the same usual suspects. Revenant Esports, Team Xspark not being able to perform. And I'm not sure what exactly is going on at this point, right? Especially for Revenant Esports. You've got Seth, a man who used to play for Big Brother Esports in the past. And Seth is quite the experienced lad as well. Moving in forward, you've got Sensei. Even you've got Blaze in that same lineup. And what exactly is going wrong for Sensei, man? I'm not sure. Revenant Esports, the team is there. Individually, yes, they are really good. But as a team, things are just not falling into place.
It absolutely is the case. And again, they only had one game today, right? They were in the Group E. This was the only game that they were playing today, so they don't have any other chance to redeem themselves either. It's going to be teams like 8-Bit, Carnival, Raven, Team Z. They'll be making their entry into the next one too. So the fact that you mentioned that Revenant, again, not finding that consistency, even though they've got the experienced players, that is definitely concerning. It seems like they're having that fear in them a bit.
I mean, yeah, talk about the fear. I guess they really do need the Philips One Blade, right?
Yes.
Because if you do get the Philips One Blade, you can move fearlessly, just like some of the players, just like some of the teams that are doing really good in the game, just like Team Forever in the previous game with no nicks and no cuts. Before now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode. Now, wow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you look. Make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen?
Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
そんな場所だ。全部壊してみっか。俺は塔のてっぺんに登った。
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
Welcome back once again after that short commercial break, and we're just moments away from stepping inside of another match, which is of course going to be played at Erangel itself. Another Erangel on the way, so that means the players and the teams are now going to start to feel a little bit more comfy.
Absolutely true. I mean, all these players and teams would try to claim the bounty in-game, but you know, there's one more thing that all the audience can claim. Ooh, yes, I know you were busy claiming that, but don't worry about it. It's again those play games are live right now. You can have all of that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about it. You've got an ample amount of time. Sweet little Android offers you some amazing experiences and goodies.
And offers as well. So yeah, do not forget to check them out. But as we do know, the match 2 is going to be soon on the way, especially for teams that were not able to perform that well in the previous one. Then that's going to be a bit of a problem. And now talk about the teams that have got the bounty on top of their heads. You've got, of course, Vasista in there. Even Carpadium is going to be having the bounty. And then even Team Forever is right there.
The banger performance, the previous one, moved them up in that top 4. So this time around, they're going to carry that bounty. So it seems inevitable that we will potentially see them getting targeted. Just like how they've got a couple of drop clashes with Orangutan every now and then. Seems like it's going to be the case as well this time around, but maybe not just Orangutan. It could also be some other teams like we've been discussing, right? Raven is back in action. 8-Bit is back in action. We could also talk about Team Z if they really want to, but Team Z and Carnival Gaming, they really like to play it slow, at their own pace. Don't really like to engage that much in the early game. But for Raven and 8-Bit, I am really looking forward to how it's going to pan out.
I mean, especially for WSP, considering now they're back once again in the race, right?
Yep.
Yesterday's day was phenomenal. It was banger. It was on point, the exact way WSP wanted it to go. And now they're over here in the game of Erangel. WSP, they will probably showcase what they showcased yesterday in the game of Sandhawk, or at least they will try to do so, because there's 3 bounty teams playing in this game.
Yes.
Global Esports is the one to sit it out for now, but yeah, you still got teams like Team Forever, Carpadium, and even Vasista Esports. Vasista Esports right now is a force to be reckoned with. Carpadium, the burning torch of consistency. Before Team Forever, they've just made their entrance in the top 4. I'm not sure how well Team Forever can keep up the defense against all the other hungry wolves. Before now, it's time for us to toss to a short...
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
To live your life the way you want. Compete like the toughest challenger. Dance like there's no tomorrow. Celebrate every second you are alive.
Just a few steps away from moving into the upcoming game. And this is where things will be spiced up. Teams like TZ are looking for a chance to come back once again in the overall rankings, while some teams, they've lost their groove. One Blade not able to perform just the way they did in the opening week, and that's why now they're starting to crack under that pressure. But this game might just be the game where they need to strike back even harder. Even Revenant Esports, so far in the overall standings, they're doing really good. But this game, if they end up performing once again, then that's going to be the icing on top of the cake they need, because right now, Revenant Esports is not in the top 4.
To be honest, if you're talking about performances of teams, I really want to talk about the one that stepped up in the previous one. It was definitely Godlike as well. Getting the few important finishes, few important frags, and then moving forward in the leaderboard. even if it's just by a bit, because it was Jonathan who had 5 in the previous one. Maybe he can carry on forward with the same flow onto the map of Erangel as well.
Exactly. The upcoming game of Erangel is going to be on the way. As the plane flight path starts all the way from Sosnovka military base towards Georgiapol, this plane flight path is tilted heavily to the left side of the map. If you want to move in towards the Asna, Poliana, Severny, even Milta Power, then it's going to be a tough stretch.
Perfectly mentioned as well. And it seems like the teams who also would love to go over towards Lipovka would also face some struggles, some problems. But the ones who like to drop somewhere around Ferry Pier, they're going to be happy. I know I'm about to mention Team Forever as well if they really want to drop towards that location. 8-bit towards Primorsk, no problems that side either. Team Tamilas as well though. And now here's this thing. Both of these teams drop in the same, around the vicinity of Primorsk, almost in the same location. Wait. What am I seeing? What am I seeing? Why is there a cluster over on top of military base?
Vasista Esports, Reckoning Esports,
MoGo
right next to each other. And then there's also TZ right there. I guess a lot of those teams just looking forward to claim that bounty. Vasista Esports is the team that is currently having the bounty on top of their heads. Even Team Forever's right there, somewhere around that vicinity.
It's chaotic. It's chaotic because Shadow finds the first one as well. Quickly gets the confirmation onto that one. Shadow doing a perfect opening for his team. Because again, it's Reckoning and up close is Team Z. If I'm not wrong, the one that you mentioned, but we'll have to wait and see how it eventually pans out for them.
Yeah. And do not forget that even Team Forever has a bounty on top of their heads. And that's why Team Forever, they dropped in a really isolated spot. And that's going to be Zarky. No one will expect Team Forever over there. There's another drop collision currently going on towards Pachinki. WSB up against the players of Carpadium. This has been happening over and over again, and it happened once again. And yes. WSB, the last time I remember, they won against Carpadium. It was a third party after a fourth party. So many teams came in forward to try and strike down WSB. But Carpadium right now, all the 4 players in that one single house.
Oh.
And already one of them gets strike down. Gamlaboy not in the game anymore. And Max Payne is way too low. Godsey pushes on up, gets another man down. Carpadium slowly and steadily starting to crumble under this pressure.
Absolutely phenomenal spray coming in from that Vector by the side of WSB. I mean, Gods is legit playing like a god right now. Only 23 remaining in the mag. And then he's got to switch back to the shotgun. The one that you really do not want to pick up in these situations. But still, the fight needs to be taken. 27 remaining in the AK. Pucar on the other side. I mean, he's got a DBS, so that could be one good thing. It's going to be important how he's going to make sure his team survives. As again, Kamla Boy is already down on his knees. It's going to be difficult. Wants to hit the revival as well, but Fierce is there for the support.
It's a 3-on-2. WSB, they've already closed on up. Pucar is there in the front lines. WSB, they know exactly where the players are. But unfortunately, they do not have utilities to try and flush him out.
What?
God still finds one of the picks. And I guess the opponents, they've got no clue where Gods was positioned to. Max Payne gets one. Unfortunately, needs to go for the fresh magazine and will be called as well. Carpadium, slowly and steadily, now starting to strike down. And they do not have any chance, but as soon as I say that, it's Gobla Boy who proves me wrong. Carpadium, they're back from the ashes.
You get one shot, one opportunity, and Gamla Boy just strikes on that one. Insane play and getting those crucial 8 points for his team. WSB will have to end their day by just getting 6, but that's not the only thing, right? It's also Team Tamilas now trying to fight against the members of Carnival Gaming, who eventually were trying to catch in when the skirmish was happening between Tamilas and 8-bit.
Team Tamilas, 3 of the players, pushing them close and personal, slowly and steadily. And it's CG in the back lines.
Yes.
CG already lost out on 2 players. What happened over here? Now it's just down to Hector and... Or it's just down to Goblin and his power. And Hector and Neo got eliminated a while ago.
Absolutely.
But for these 2 players, we know they do pack a lot of that punch, right? His power, of course, the Assaulter. Goblin as well, the same thing. And inside of the elimination feed, you also see Reckoning Esports taking a dig against the players of TZ. Too many fights happening in this power play. This Erangel is erupting in a really bad fashion for some of the teams. Before Carnival Gaming over here, there's still a chance they can defend this compound against TT, but this man disadvantage will be quite a tough stinger.
I saw Reckoning get a pick on Team Z, And I was like, all right, understandable. They're all the way down towards the factory. But the fact that it was a VSS is what blows my mind. But all right. Coming back to the same situation, as you perfectly mentioned, it's Goblin as well as Xspark, two of the solid assaulters of Carnival Gaming. Both of them remaining. Definitely the wicked duo coming in, but can they clutch in this situation? It's a 2v3, very much doable. But Team Tamilas, they've kind of decided to just bail out on this fight, or we just go for a full circle around.
I mean, hold on. Carnival gaining positions and compromised. S-Power does find the strike on one player, pulls out the pump shotgun. A good Molotov, denies the push for a while, and then instantly ejects outside of the window. Wants to get another player strike down. Team Tamilas, they've lost out a man T4 now.
Oh, Goblin.
He's not there in the fight anymore. Another man gets strike down from the side of CG. Goblin not in the game, and just like that, even S-Power hits the deck. Team Tamilas, they do come out on top, but at the cost of Mr. IGL.
It's absolutely fine, right? Because either ways, Mr. IGL probably was lost during the fight, during the skirmish when they had towards 8-bit. Maybe no, right? It was Carnival Gaming only who eventually shut them down. But it's absolutely fine. You get 8 points early on. 2 more because you were able to eliminate 1 player from 8-bit. So that's 10 early points. I think so. That's such a great cushion.
Ready for the third party. 8-bit, they're just waiting for the right moment to strike.
Revenge.
Maxi OP's position known. Still searching for the remaining 2. Pulls out the MP45 at that range. I'm not sure how effective it's going to be, but if you do connect all the shots, then it will be really effective. Maxi, if he sits in that vehicle, it's death for him. Team Tamilas, the play's now starting to move. Unfortunately for Aditya, position's compromised. Nice spot by Maxi. But Maxi takes a bit of that return fire upon himself. For 8-bit, there's another team around the area, and it's not looking so hot anymore. This man is just trying to run over Aditya, but the backup fire from the side of 8-bit is also going to be there, but the same thing can be said for OneBlade too. But unfortunately for OneBlade, they lose out on Anonymous. What is going on? This is so weird, so unorthodox.
That is not just only it. There's also Fascista now in the vicinity. There's Xspark. There's also God's Reign, who are all going to hear this commotion. And it's all open ground, so you will potentially see at least 2 of them also jumping in. There's literally 3 teams in the circle right now.
Now my question is, what is God's Reign doing over there? Because God's Reign usually, they drop up north. And now God's Reign, they're down south. I guess they know it's a hunting party down here.
What kind of ranked game are we watching right now?
Wherever there's gunshot, just push over there. Fine. No need for any sort of game strat. No need for any sort of rotations. Just make the push against the foes. That's all you need to do.
Oh my God!
Raid Fury! What was that? Takes down 2 of the players with 1 single magazine of this S12K, and now the shotgun starts to strike once again. Fury single-handedly shuts down 3 players.
Manhandling the entire team. What a nasty play coming in from this guy. But the fight is not over yet, because again, for this part, yes, we're done with the battle on this end, but the war is still yet to finish. Because it is OneBlade up against the side of Team Tamilas, and I believe it's going to be OneBlade taking them apart one after the other. Important one, as now 8-bit eventually finds some value, maybe some time to try and pick a couple of players off. Fighting in the smoke as well. There's a player knocked down. You still want to find where he is. All right, Mighty just wants to get that confirmation up close and personal, but shots being fired all the way from the long range. OneBlade losing a couple of their members now.
Now listen, we've been speaking a lot about Team Xspark after the opening week struggle, right? The same thing can be said for MoGo Esports, CG. But what about OneBlade? The same storyline is repeating for OneBlade as well.
Yes.
And we forgot to mention them. And OneBlade right now is getting overshadowed by all the other teams. OneBlade, they're here to make a name for themselves. They're here to make a statement for themselves. And if they keep on playing the same way, then that's never going to come true. OneBlade, they need to do something right here, right now. They need to start hunting down some of the big names. I mean, in this game, they're already capitalized. They're already taken down to a 2-man squad. So fine. In the upcoming game tomorrow, maybe OneBlade can do better things. But if things keep on moving the same way, then OneBlade, their survival in this tournament will be dicey. Godlike, even they kick things off against the foes in a really good fashion. First man's found, but they're going up against Revenant Esports, and I'm already starting to shake.
Oh! Beautiful nade coming in already from AimGod this time. Z-God's been brought down on his knees. One God taking the other one out, and this should be the confirmation. Just a bit wide. But it still should flush out Z-God. On the other end of the spectrum, there's going to be the retaliation coming in as Jonathan catches Reaper with his own nade. It's just a nade party out here coming in. A molly being picked up, but Hanzo still pretty low. Oh my god, so low in that HP.
He needs to patch himself up ASAP. Godlike, they did lose out on one of the men. And now it's going to be a 3v3. But even Reaper's knocked out. So for Revenant Esports, it's going to be a 2v3. Godlike, they know exactly where AimGod's positioned. And AimGod gets taken down. Now it's all down to Hanzo. Can he be the archer for his team? But no, it's going to be the answer. Hey, Hanzo does not even get a chance to do anything against Godlike. This three-man squad is looking way too strong. Z-God was the only casualty for Godlike, but then now there's a third party of Aiku Soul. Oh, this is a battle that is going to be worth watching. Godlike versus Aiku Soul, and Aiku Soul, they've got the man number.
They definitely do, and they've got the utilities as well, but Jonathan's positioning is going to be crucial. If in case it's unknown, it basically is going to be the finish of Somme, man. It's going to be important, specifically with where he's standing right now. And Jonathan, he's been feeling himself today. He's been on fire since the previous map.
A 3-on-4 is possible, my friend. There we go. Jonathan, first man found. Good capitalization. Instantly moves back. The repositioning, I like this idea.
Lovely.
Repositions a little bit in the outskirts of the compound wall, tosses out a smoke so we can get a bit of more breather in this area before Aiku Soul. Now even they're taken down on a 3v3. So for Godlike, they're back on the neutral grounds against the foes. That was a really good capitalization from Jonathan.
30 seconds for the power play remaining. Now that's the thing. Our team's going to try and take this fight, but Godlike, it just seems that they want to create, they want to create a full-fledged smoke wall and they want to back off from this one. They don't want to fight ahead of it.
Aiku Soul, they came in with the intention of fight, but now I guess they just need to back away with nothing in their hands. Godlike, they do cross on over towards the opposite side, and Ronnie, I guess he's on the prowl. He does not want to let the players of Godlike go away like that, because already Knuckle was the casualty. And Aiku Soul, they're seeking for revenge. Information's given away to the players. Godlike, Punk is the only man who's on this side of the street, while the rest two players are on the opposite. So I do understand the playing stance for Godlike, but what is the escape option here? What is the escape route? Nothing. For both these teams, they cannot escape away from this fight anymore. So it's also going to be a stalemate outside of the zone in Stage 2.
And it totally depends who's got better healings at this point, because even though, yes, you could argue Godlike were the ones who won the fight against Raven, I don't think so. They would have had enough time to actually loot all of those crates that were out there because of how quickly Soul came in and they had to reposition. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Admin having absolutely no first aid whatsoever. Jonathan has 4, so that's going to be a bit of a relief, but Punk, he's just going back all the way. He's probably going to try and find a vehicle in which he could get all the players out here. Man has been drifting for such a long distance. That is nasty crazy.
Yeah, Punk, he's now going to be the Uber driver for his teammates. Just going to drive them all across the map and make sure that the rotation's going to be safe and sound. For TZ, they're still down south. That's the Snovka military base. We're not seeing any sort of major movements from them. 8-bit towards Ferropier. Team Tamila's Maxi's the only man left alive. While you look at towards the right side of the map, towards Milta, there's Aiku Soul, there's Godlike, there's Reckoning Esports. 3 of the teams taking the same rotation.
What I like here is obviously going to be where Vasishta Esports is. They're kind of ready to answer back to whatever's going to be thrown on their face.
Oh my god, look at what Aiku Soul is doing. They're trying to cut off all the possible rotation pathways for Godlike. They've spread themselves out. They're here to hunt down Godlike. They're not going to let them go just like that. They're covering every single piece of land. Inside of the city, there's one player. Outside of the city, there's another player. And towards the road, there's another player. So Aiku Soul, they're making sure that Godlike is not going to get any sort of breathing room.
It's a kamikaze play out here. And Somme is probably going to be the one who's going to find out where the members of Godlike are. You really need that American muscle to show some speed to try and dodge this fight, because that's the best thing that you can do right now. Godlike do not have the resources to fight. Take it on.
Aiku Soul, not yet. They haven't found the information on the players of Godlike. And Godlike, they've already escaped the claws of Aiku Soul.
Beautiful.
Making a smooth rotation out of that spot.
Lovely tactical retreat.
Yeah. And looking outside of the zone, there's still a decent amount of teams, right? IQ Soul is, of course, there. Then there's Team Z. You've also got 8-Bit. Then you've also got Team Timulus. All these teams right next to each other.
Oh.
Inside of the zone, Team Forever under a bit of fire. Vasista Esports taking shots against them. And both the teams, they currently hold a bounty on top of their heads. For Team Forever, if they do take down Vasista Esports, that's extra bit of 10 points. And it's vice versa.
Oh,
and now,
the movement.
Team Forever, one man is playing with a lot of that fire. And Vasista Esports, they're not going to miss out on those shots. The man gets strike down. Team Forever down to a 3-man squad, while Vasista Esports, they've got the advantage in the fight now.
Absolutely. Apollo forced to be reckoned with right now. Playing phenomenally, and Team Forever, they've just decided to go for the retreat. They're not going to contest that position whatsoever. I like how the idea for both of the teams revolved around the same area too. Going for the control, going for the contest. And now there are only a few teams that can actually stand up to them. You could argue that there's a few members of One Blade, if I'm not wrong, a couple of them. And then there's a full squad of Orangutan remaining. Because again, they dropped up towards the apartment areas of the school. We don't really have any kind of problems. You normally do have a contest with IQ Soul, but this time around they decided to try and target some other teams.
Pretty much. OG playing in the centric spot. AKOP, Veyron, Atanki, Aru, right next to each other. There's also God's Reen towards Rozhok.
Yes.
Then there's Carpadium towards Pachinki, Reckoning Esports. I guess they have sort of found themselves the breaching point. What just happened to IQ Soul's Joker? He's knocked out. I guess the Wall of Death is doing a lot of that damage against him.
Probably. Maybe struggling with those heals, right? You really have to consider now by this point that Godlike should probably have gone in a way with the rotations already. And as you mentioned, God's Reign near towards Rozhok in the Water City. We'll try to loot as much things as possible. Again, we know this team to play in very slow. Sometimes when they want to change the gears, yes, they can go on aggressive note. Back, if I'm not wrong, when this roster was playing under the name of Kemin, they could change their style so very quickly.
8-Bit, 3 players, still outside of the zone, constantly taking that damage. And now the opponents, they have stopped. There's a high chance 8-Bit, they might just take a lot of that damage upon themselves. And that's what happens. 8-Bit, they're taking a lot of damage upon themselves.
It's done.
And at this point in time, they were also quite scratched up and bruised up by the play zone as well. And that's going to help the players of Reckoning Esports in this fight. And within a flash, it's 8-Bit hitting the deck.
Did not anticipate Reckoning being there. And a perfect crossfire coming in. It seems like they just walked right in the middle of that trap, and they all were traveling in one vehicle.
8-Bit knew that Reckoning Esports was around that area, considering Reckoning Esports, they moved in from that place. But Reckoning Esports, they sort of came back to the same spot, and they just waited for the players of 8-Bit to move away from that compound.
True. Just using Team Z's distraction a little bit. Perfect play. But again, oh my goodness, look at the circle. Now, as much as I would want to say that it's Orangutan who might have the prime positioning, but look at the rotation of Vasista. They can cut off anyone who wants to jump in from the bridge of Yasnaya Polyana, and they can also fight in anyone who's basically up front in them. They've got some good compounds to hold as well, and God's Reign. They're also a bit too close to the members of Orangutan, the apes. It's going to be crucial because Godlike still have not made it into the circle yet, or even in the safe area.
I would still want to go back to the previous fight where 8-Bit got eliminated. Reckoning Esports are psychopaths.
True.
Who does that?
Reckoning.
Reckoning knew that 8-Bit's going to be camping this bridge because...
That's what they do.
Yeah, because they were around that vicinity before. Then they rotated all the way from the Nova Rapnoy bridge and came back towards the Fairy Pier bridge to hunt down 8-Bit. Now, this is what you call the tables being flipped.
This is crazy team, man. Reckoning is just a crazy team. But yeah, at the same time, I really want to focus down as to how long they're going to stay there, right? Because Again, Team Tamila, just Maxi is alive. He will probably play in for the same mid strat, and we've been mentioning it. You really do not get a lot of points with just those healings until you go to that second position. And even that offers you, if I'm not wrong, just 6. So there's got to be quite a few things that we've got to be worried about. But
yeah,
one blade being chased by the members of Team Z. Not quite sure if they would really want to take that fight or not, or they're just waiting for one blade to move forward. But Vasishta and OG's engagement is something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it's a trifecta right now inside of the zone. Godsreen, Vasista Esports, and even OG right next to each other. And OG, they still haven't really found themselves that sweet spot, right? Still remember in Team Aru in the past, Veron used to be the main playmaker. Veron was the man who was getting so many eliminations on the board. Before Team OG, Veron isn't able to get a lot done. And now that's starting to cause a main sign of concern. OG isn't doing too bad in the overall standings. Don't take away that from OG, but they can do much better considering what they have showcased in the past.
They're at the 15th spot right now, so yeah, understandable. It just seems that they are testing the waters as well, right? Because some days we see Wiz playing, today we are seeing Veron play. So it's like they're just switching things up, they're just making sure everyone gets comfortable. And they get in the habit of this constant early game aggression, because all the teams were habitual of slow-paced game since the beginning.
Pretty much. And some teams adapted to it like butter.
True. But as quickly as the butter melts, whenever a hot knife is moved over it, it seems like that some of the teams, they are definitely facing those jitters now. Oh my god.
Vasista Esports on the move. As the circle shifts out in the open in the rice fields of Yasna Poliana, OG, they find themselves in a decent shoes. Team Timila's on the move as well to try and capture a better spot inside of the zone. And for Team Timila's, I'm not sure what the play stance is going to look like. They found themselves the compound. They're probably going to hunker themselves down over there. And OG, they are a little bit more proactive. They move up close and personal against the players of Vasista Esports. As Vasista Esports, they leave this compound.
Whatever the decision needs to be made by Vasista, it needs to be quick, because Team Forever are already going to occupy those big buildings and big compounds of Yasnaya Polyana. While also God's Reign have got the similar idea as well, as they're moving in from that Yasnaya Polyana bridge. We'll be taking the compounds on the left. So Vasista can technically be just pincered from 3 directions now.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what's
Vasista
happening.
Esports is moving towards Yasna Poliana, the main city. That's what they're doing.
It's a good choice.
Now that pincer is not going to come through anymore. But you never know. There's a high chance the circle might just move to the spot where they were before. So it can't play the mind games with the boys. Godsreen is right there in the back lines too. If the circle moves out in the open, from the back it's going to be Godsreen applying that constant pressure. So it's death all across the board.
Oh my god.
Godlike as well, they close on in towards Yasna Poliana. There's way too many teams in the city. It's probably going to be hell breaking loose soon as soon as the stage 5 hits.
The city is feeling more and more like Delhi, with so many teams just jumping in on all of those compounds that are so very close to each other. It's gonna feel a lot of claustrophobia. It's gonna smell claustrophobic. But at the same time,
Vasista Esports and Godlike locking horns. Admino is there inside the building, but then Jonathan from the opposite side is taking shots. Vasista Esports. One of the man's quite bruised up and scratched up. 2 players outside towards the shack. Jonathan in the house, or in the apartment. And he's got the nice high ground to play with. He's got a nice drone view. Team Forever up against the players of Godsreen. And for Godsreen, it's a date with Destiny. Exactly what they want. Team Forever, they've got the bounty on top of their heads.
I don't think so. It would be claimable, right? Because if we remember, Vasista were the ones who took down the first member of Forever.
One of the men was taken down a while ago, right?
Fury, lucky to be alive out there, runs down quickly, finds the timing when Ash hits that reload. Perfect cover as well coming in from his teammates. So, yeah, since one player has been finished off by God's Reign, one by Vasista, so the bounty is not claimable. Carpedium, one member remaining, not gonna be claimable. It's only Vashista's bounty that can be claimed by any of the other teams out here now.
Yeah, and Godlike is right behind him. They're on the prowl. There's a high chance Godlike can claim this bounty.
Oh
if they
my
do
God.
shut down Vasista Esports. Godsreen as well, moving ever so closer to the players of Team Forever. And now Godsreen, they've already made the bounce happen. They're the assassins. Just parkouring their way towards the apartments that Team Forever was holding. Another man hits the deck, and now it's down to just this one last remaining player of Team Forever. And Fury spots the man. As he tried to go for that jump shot, he does not even have a chance to pull the trigger, and he gets sent to hell.
Team Forever being taken down this time around, only catching one. That's all. But it's absolutely fine. They're at a very comfortable position right now. But a team that, two of the teams that are going to be very uncomfortable are definitely going to be Vashista and Godlike, because the circle took a very hard down southwestern shift, and it should technically be Orangutan's game. But on the other side, though, it's Soul up against Team Z. And a bot 10 fight, as Soul have already lost another member.
Yeah, Somai just blew himself up, and that's a massive blunder now. IQ Soul taking down a two-man squad. Somai's blunder, it might just cost IQ Soul this run in this game. Side OP, he packs himself up, and now the man's getting capitalized. He's getting pushed on, and Sayed all by himself. He can't defend himself anymore. The players went for peaks one after one, and yeah, TZ, they just gift their frags away to IQ Soul.
IQ Soul finally still surviving, getting 2 crucial points, but again, it's not going to help them a lot, because it basically makes their total to 28 right now, and Team Z having a bit of a heated discussion as well at the same time. But some things really need to be settled down out there, because on the other side of the spectrum, you've still got the members of OG who are holding the compounds, who are hearing all the commotion that's happening. And I think so Godlike would want to try and breach those compounds, but they're still again outside of the circle. The only good thing is circle's going to move a bit slow from the side where they were, but they're moving a bit more away. Vashista Esports as well will be trying to take the entry directly from the rice fields, so they are going to be contested by the members of God's Reign.
IQ Soul, Ronnie and Joker. Right next to each other.
Oh.
And then you've also got God's Reign now taking shots against Vasista Esports. Hold on.
Claimable
this can
bounty.
be a big one. And as you mentioned, it's also a claimable bounty, but Venom's quite exposed. God's Reign, they need to provide that backup fire to that one single man who's there out in the open. And I like what Venom is doing. Nicely done, Vasista Esports. Duck 6 feet under, and God's Reign, they do claim the bounty.
Finally, Vasista's bounty has been claimed. This team was the one which had the bounty for the longest time, and that went in unclaimed by any of the team. But finally, those Goliaths have been taken down. Good positioning coming in from Godstain, but again, as we mentioned, it should be Orangutan's game, because even Godlike are quite open and now going to be targeted by both Godstain as well as the OG. And from the long distance, it's going to be Reckoning trying to take a piece of that pie, as Godlike find themselves in an awkward place where Admino is the only man remaining, as OG want to try and push forward, but will finally claim that pick.
And even he gets spotted from the back by that one single man of Carpedium.
Gamla boy.
Yeah. Carpedium, man, even though they're just down to that one single man, still he's refusing to give up. He's in a really good spot, too. He's barely making it inside of the zone, on the edge. In my opinion, that's a decent spot. He's also able to squeeze a couple of elimination points here and there. So Carpedium doing decent for themselves in this game as well. The consistency not lacking. But for God's Reign, it's now a world of trouble, just collapsing on top of them. It's the players of OG constantly firing shots against the players of God's Reign. While God's Reign, they're trying to move a little bit closer to that safe zone.
It's going to be difficult, because again, on their 6, it's going to be Reckoning who will try to take the advantage. And Aru tries to fire a few shots, but the connection is just not there.
God's Reign, it's the panic moments. The man's quite exposed. Venom is still alive somehow. Oh, he runs out of bullets at the right time for God's Reign, and that's why God's Reign has faced no casualty, even though it was such a panic move. And still they're somehow alive with all the players.
Lovely nade.
Yeah, not in that comfortable shoes just yet, but still God's Reign's doing quite good, while Reckoning Esports on the opposite side of the spectrum, they're not doing too hot. Viper's barely surviving on a sliver of HP, but this nade's being tossed to perfection. A Molotov was tossed outside, so the man could not move outside of the shack anymore, and then a nade came to follow it up.
This should be their game as well, because everyone who are outside of that circle have been taken down. It's only God's Reign remaining now up against the Apes themselves. The first move has been made. AKOP finds a few shots, but does not find the connection already. It's still going to be Orangutan. 4v3 advantage.
God's Reign, they're playing this so disciplined. They're playing this so systematically well. They know exactly where the players of OGR2 and Aru, he's just waiting to deliver that finishing blow, considering they've got the man advantage inside of the fight. It's a 4v3. God's Reign in the open fields, while the players of OG, they've got a bit of that high ground to play with the compound. And some of the players of OG, they're looking forward to be a little bit more proactive. They've also got the covers of the vehicle, but the zone, it's equally favoring both the teams.
Lovely.
But this nade from AKOP now just shifts the entire tide in the favor of OG. Another nade to claim that elimination point, and now it's all down to Phantom and Venom.
Quite a far distance out there, but OG, they just need to keep their calm. They need to play it cool, because the circle is almost covering both these teams out here. AKOP has been knocked down by Phantom, so that's important.
Yeah, now it's taken down a 3-on-2. Hold on. Hopes might just be restored once again in the hands of God's Reign. One of the man's trying to close on up against the players of OG. And Venom, this is quite the risky move. The man's pulled out the shotgun, and Venom's able to do a lot of that damage against the foe in the front. Holds out the nade as well. If he's able to find this connection with the nade, this can be massive, and he does so as well. Now it's taken down to a 2v2, but unfortunately, still they have been taken down by the side of OG. The Apes themselves, finally, they are the one to claim the chicken dinner.
Beautiful play, beautiful positioning. And it seems like the players of OG and Team Forever, they had the blessing of God.
Today, definitely an off day for some of the known names who were already dominating the tournament. Now it's time for some of the newer names to strike back. Godlike, OG. These two teams are doing so good for today's day. And even Team Forever, they found themselves in the podium finish. They were there in the top 4, but I'm not sure where they placed themselves after this game. But even Team Forever has had a really good game. Let's move on to the stage for a short interview.
Alright, Orangutan winner chicken dinner आज के इस आखिरी मैच में आखिरी मैप पे। और यार बहुत टाइम हो गया तुम्हें यहाँ पे कॉन्वर्सेशन करते हुए, तुम्हें जीतता हुआ देखते हुए। Does it feel good या is the pressure off you now?
प्रेशर तो ऑफ है बिकॉज इतना सारा एक्सपीरियंस है अभी, बस खेलते हुए मज़ा आता है।
हाँ जी, काफ़ी इंटरव्यूज़ हुए हैं हमारी शुरुआत में, ऐसा लगा कि यस मुश्किल हो रही थी एंड ओरंगुटान उन्होंने शुरुआत अच्छी की थी, बट अब फाइनली चिकन डिनर मिला है। इस आखिरी मैप पे क्या स्ट्रैटेजी थी आज?
इस मैप में ये पूरे लीग स्टेज में कोई स्ट्रैटेजी नहीं है, जो दिख रहा मारो फन मस्ती, बस टाइम पास है, कुछ नहीं है।
आरो ये जो बाउंटी और पावर प्ले हमने जो देखा है, उसके वजह से पूरा जो मतलब जितनी भी टीम्स हैं, 20 टीमें हैं, उन सबका गेम जो है वो टोटली अलग हो गया। क्या अडेप्ट करने में आसानी हुई है तुम लोगों को, या अभी भी थोड़ा बहुत ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं दिस स्टिल अ लॉन्ग वे टू गो?
अडेप्ट करने की आई थिंक आसानी नहीं है और मुश्किल भी नहीं है, बिकॉज अडेप्ट करने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है। लीग स्टेज में सब लोग मस्ती के लिए खेल रहे हैं, जिसको मारना है मारो एंड अपनी गन पार बढ़ाओ बस।
भैया हमने देख लिया, आज तीसरा दिन है लीग वीक 1 का सर्वाइवर सीरीज। जैसे हमारे कास्टर्स बोल रहे हैं, यहाँ पे तबाही मची हुई है। बैक टू द स्टूडियोज।
एरांगल के जंगल में 2 बार हुआ फंबल। सीजन 3 में होगा असली दंगल, ना थर्ड ना सेकंड, इस बार नंबर 1। गेट रेडी फॉर द रोल।
OG finally making some big moves on the overall board, but even God's Reign and Carpadium had a really good performance. And nothing taken away from Revenant Esports too, right? Even they had a really good performance.
Absolutely, they were doing actually a phenomenal thing. And at the same time, I really love the fact how even God's Reign were able to quickly get them to that second position as well, even though they had to make that hasty rotation.
I guess they've got their game face on with the Guardian men, right? In general, the players doing really good. And this was a step up that we've all been waiting for, especially from the likes of OG. If this step up wouldn't have came through, then once again, all the fans would have doubted OG's capabilities. But this is how the action really kicked off in the previous game. Basista Esports, they managed to take down one of the players, but that's all they found. After that, Basista Esports, they took an exit from the military base itself, and they moved in towards the main island. But this fight between Carpadium and their foes was quite intense. WSB, we thought for a moment that WSB will be the one to claim this entire fight, but unfortunately, they were not able to do so, while Carpadium's last man, he hits that finishing blow right on the spot.
Indeed, and this was one of the most crucial fight for God's Reign, right? Because if in case their player would have fell there, that would have been like everything. But again, Godlike finally showing some reminiscence of their prime of how they used to play, and this was just a picture perfect play against the members of Raven, as Hanzo was the last man standing.
Yeah, just to let you guys know, Raven Esports, they've been dominating the league stage so far, and Godlike, they took down Raven. A hard-hitting team was not there in this entire competition, so that was already a big side relief for the lobby. Then later on, OG, they just had a really good spot inside of the zone. No one could take this entire game away from them. They had the only compound in the final few moments. They also had so much more cover to play with, and Ash was able to find a beautiful opener with that one single nade. And that's where the entire possibility of winning this game came through.
Yes, that's the whole point about it, because as you mentioned, AKOP again with those nades has been phenomenal. And on the other side of the spectrum, if you really want to talk about it, Fury from God's Reign is the one who's actually MVP with 5 finishes and only 42% contribution.
Oh man, I mean, Fury, solid stuff. Fury's always been one of those main playmaker for God's Reign, right? But if you move on towards the best companion, it's going to be Jonathan with 2 rescues and 1 assist, and the finisher will be Atanki from OG, the man who delivered the finishing blow against God's Reign. But as I mentioned, you got to give it to God's Reign as well, because they played phenomenally well. They also claimed the bounty against Basista Esports.
True. And it seems to be the case that God's Reign, again, with those 22 points, were able to quickly have that advantage and are now going to climb up those ranks. But on the other side, even OG, not that far away, even though they got the chicken dinner, yes, they're at the 2nd place, but with 19 points, that is absolutely good.
Look at Team Tamilas, still there on the board with 14 points. Team Tamilas unshakable from the first half of the board. Carpadium, even though they were taken down to just that one last man off the rip, they still managed to take away 11 points. Now, isn't that impressive? From which 8 points they claimed in the bounty itself. So Carpadium, consistency, as I mentioned, they have been the burning torch of it.
That is true. Carpadium with that consistency have been constantly showing those performances and getting those 10 points. But since we're already talking about it, even Godlike was able to get those 10 crucial points where they seem to have been stopped for the past couple of games.
I mean, let's move on and look at the Move Fearless, the moments of the day, right? Because that's where the entire day's highlights will be witnessed, and we'll be able to witness some of the glorifying moments that happen off the rip. We, of course, kicked things off on Miramar, where things were quite spicy, but then later on, it was peace all around the board. The players were locked in and loaded. Basista Esports, as usual, they were moving in with that cushion in the first game, too. But then later on in the final few moments, where we had so many expectations from some of the teams like Revenant Esports, they failed us.
Indeed, and there was an opportunity for MoGo as well to try and take down the Goliaths of Godlike, but it just seemed that when it mattered most, Jonathan stepped up like an angel descending from heaven for the team, and Admino making sure that he was the guardian angel, he was becoming the archangel for his own side, saving them.
Yeah, but then later on, Entity and God's Reign fight, where God's Reign was looking super uncomfortable, super unknown of the fact that Entity was there around them, and they just got caught off guard. Because God's Reign, they seemed lost in that fight. Team Forever, they were doing really good in this game in Miramar, considering they were the one to claim the chicken dinner after taking down Global Esports, and not just that, they also claimed the bounty on the heads of Global.
Indeed, it was a big move, and that was one of the reasons why they had a bounty on themselves after in the next map of Erangel, where teams definitely did try to go in for the target as well, but at the same time, Team Forever dodged everything, dropped all the way towards Zaki, but that was not the case with WSB. They again had that constant engagement that they've been having with Carpadium, and this time it was Kamla Boy who made sure that they will win against WSB.
Yeah, I mean, WSB, quite the unfortunate one, right? One single shotgun blow to the chest, and the man just landed it to the perfection. And WSB's chances of coming out on top in that fight were instantly stolen away from them. Godlike, after striking down Raven Esports, they were looking really good, but then a third party came in from Aiku's Soul. And then you also saw Reckoning Esports wipe out the entirety of 8-bit.
That was amazing play again. Action-packed entire game from all the teams in the lobby. And I love the fact how, even AK mentioned, right? no one's using any strategy.
Yeah.
Does not matter. It's happening. It's a rank game. Everyone's just trying to find the fights and they're just fighting it. They're increasing their gun power. That is also very crucial as we move along the series.
I mean, it's crucial for teams like OneBlade who aren't able to do anything.
Yes.
Crucial for teams like TZ as well, because now's the time. If they do not manage to increase their gun power, then later on in the playoffs, if they do move in towards there, then it's going to be a big blunder. I mean, especially for TZ, they're not able to find anything, man. Be it in the opening week, TZ wasn't able to perform. Be it over here, too, TZ is still not able to perform. And I'm not sure what exactly is going wrong with the players. But the standout player of the day, it's going to be Jonathan. Finally, the man steps up for the team when it matters the most, and Jonathan collects 9 finishes.
Well, at least someone's going to be happy out there, or maybe humongous party's going to be happy out there, because again, Jonathan's revival right now, being the standout player, it basically means that now, yes, Godlike can again rely back on him, on the fragging potential that he had, on the firepower that he was bringing, because I did mention it, I touch upon the point that he also had 5 finishes in the first map itself of Miramar.
I mean, this has always been the main talking point, right? Godlike, they do pack a lot of that punch. They do have the aggressive players. They have a lot of that firepower, and now Punk knows exactly how to...
Finally, Godlike का वो रूप, वो अवतार देखने को मिल रहा है. All thanks to this man, the Jonathan, 9 finishes. Johnny, गेम में क्या हुआ, खुद की परफॉर्मेंस कैसी थी, उस पे बाद में आएंगे. ये जो आखिरी हफ्ता रहा है, माय गॉड, मैं सोशल्स पे चले जाऊं, सिर्फ गॉडलाइक की बात होती है, एंड नॉट फॉर ग्रेट रीजंस. उस केओस की, उस मझधार के बीचों बीच फंसे हुए हो तुम. बहुत चूचू हो रही थी. इज इट हार्ड टू जस्ट फोकस ऑन द गेम एंड कीप एवरीथिंग असाइड?
लाइक गेम पे तो लाइक फोकस चल ही रहा है. लाइक सारे अभी फिलहाल बीमार है, बट अभी ऐसा है कि हम अगेंस्ट द ऑड्स है. सारे लोग हमारे अगेंस्ट है, बट कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, उनको पता चल ही जाएगा. सो अभी वही हम एज अ टीम बैठ के अभी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं कि क्या कर सकते हो और बेटर क्या नहीं. ये जस्ट ग्लिम्स था, पता चल जाएगा आपको.
लिसन जॉनी, आई डोंट हैव टू डिस्क्राइब टू एवरीवन जो भी देख रहे हैं हमें, चाहे वो स्टार स्पोर्ट्स हो या फिर यू नो यूट्यूब पे, हु यू आर. समटाइम्स पीपल डोंट नीड एन इंट्रोडक्शन, बट जॉनी क्या है ना कि एक बहुत ह्यूमन अवतार देखने को मिला है तुम्हारा, स्पेशली इन द लास्ट 2 सीजन्स. ये तीसरा सीजन है, लेकिन आज जो देखने को मिला है, हाउ वुड यू कैप इट ऑफ?
लाइक ऐसा बोल सकता है इन शॉर्ट, दिस वाज जस्ट द स्टेप 1. अभी तो बहुत कुछ है. लाइक दो आई एम सिक, अभी बीमार हूँ, बट वही जैसे बोला, ये स्टेप 1 था. अभी तो बहुत कुछ करना है, आपको पता चल जाएगा.
भाई बीमारी में 9 फिनिशेस निकाले हैं, जब ये फॉर्म में आएगा तो क्या होगा? जस्ट लाइक हिम, Godlike, what a performance. Back to the boys here.
Well, I guess Jonathan, of course, performing really well, but even Punk, man, you got to give it to this lad. IGL shift coming in, and instantly you can see the shift in the performance too. You can shift in the points table too. Now Godlike, they're over there in the first half of the board.
Absolutely true. But again, it's a super wicked result that's been coming in for their side. But at the same time, there's one more thing that is super wicked, and that is the TVS Raid, and this is the Iron Man edition.
Oh yeah, it looks so good. The Super Squad Iron Man edition, it looks phenomenally well. It looks fantastic. But let's move on and look at the overall board now, because that's going to be really important too. Hero Extreme Godlike, there we go, on the 9th spot in the overall standings. They are there in the first half of the board, and this is exactly what the fans wanted to see, slow and steady steps. But you look at the top 4, Team Forever is there on the 4th spot, Team Tamilas is there too on the 3rd, Carpedium on the 2nd, and Vasista Esports on the 1st.
Raven Global, both of these teams being thrown out of that top 4. But on the other side of the spectrum, on the other side of the entire page, we've got again some teams that we were not expecting to see here. Xspark, MoGo, Revenant, even 8-bit out there, right? You see the points disparity, it's not that much. So you already know that these teams, even though they're trying to find some picks, but it just seems that they're not finding their footing in the chaos.
I mean, talk about the chaos in general. In the first half of the game, it's just a lot of that chaos ensuing, right? All the players and the teams, they want to take advantage of that power play and also the bounty system. So at least in the stage 1 and stage 2, there's a lot of that chaos ensuing. And if some of the teams, they do manage to avoid all the chaos, then they're probably going to be there surviving somewhere in the top 5. And that's what Carpedium does. They try to take the advantage of the chaos in the first half of the game, and then later on, they just completely go quiet.
Absolutely true. But someone who did not go quiet today was definitely Jonathan, right? With those 9 finishes. Before these 2 games, he was on 4th. He was not even here on the list. And right now, he's already made his entry in the top 10. But at the same time, I really want to talk about how Nakul really tried, but again, he's still stuck on 18 after that game. It seems that things aren't going quite well with Seoul, man.
For IQ Seoul, definitely, it was quite a rough patch today, I'm not gonna lie. Especially Salme blowing himself up in that compound, sort of put the players of IQ Seoul in a really vulnerable spot. Before OG, I'm not gonna lie, this is the exact playstyle OG plays with, and now they played with the same playstyle that they have been playing for the past, and it works out perfectly, right? Aru being the ideal, he brings back the basics to the game, he brings back his own playstyle, and now OG's performing really nice.
To be honest, if I want to look at the similarities between what happened in Miramar and what happened in Erangel, I'm going to say that Ash with Team Forever was in that one compound and all the people were going there.
Yeah, with that being said, today's day comes to an end. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new season of daily BGMI action. This time with even more competition. This time with even more comedy. With a lot more jaw-dropping moments. And also a few that many would want to forget. And for the first time ever, enjoy BGMI Master Series with Android. Welcome back to the biggest ever BGMI Carnival on national TV.